Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome back to another Going Old School Retro Discussions. It's always amazing to actually be able to run these panels and be able to get some people on to talk to and see all you people in the chat. I already see that LDG of Geeks and Joy has stopped by earlier. What's going on? Parrothead, Chupacabra, what's going on? Wookie, and Bone, what's going on? Bone, you are now knighted, sir. So, Sherry, hello there. Welcome. So today, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was a franchise that I've actually been seeing quite a bit in the live streams, and I've been seeing a few. So I wanted to touch on those once again. I have actually touched on both of these topics in previous Toys from the Past that I used to do for my channel all the time, which I sorely need to get back to doing. But we are going to touch on it again. What's going on, son of a red shirt? Oh, Chupacabra, you are back. What's going on? I'm walking out the door. Dispensary trip. It happens. Keck 44, what's going on? So, like I said, one of the things is I see a lot of people talk about same franchises in the chat. Well, why don't you talk about these franchises? I would like to hear about this one. Well, like I said, I've done a few of them, but we are going to get into one of those franchises again. So what I actually have already done is I actually prepared a small clip for the segment of the franchise that I'm going to be talking about while we wait for other people to get in and hopefully some other people that are supposed to pop up on the panel. But we all know how these things go. It is what it is, and on with the show.
We will be discussing those wonderfully quirky, strange, and silly, yet beloved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The story of the Turtles begins not with those amazing toys that became a sensation that everybody knows and loves, but started off as a comic book by Eastman and Laird. This was a black and white comic that ran from May of 1984 till 2015. For a comic book that was originally only intended to be a one-shot, it is a testament of not only its originality, but the skill, soul, and work both Eastman and Laird infused in those pages that made it a cultural phenomenon. The concept originated from a comical drawing sketched out by Kevin Eastman during a casual evening of brainstorming with his friend Peter Laird. The drawing of a short, squat turtle wearing a mask with nunchucks strapped to his arms was incredibly humorous to the young artist, as it played upon the inherent contradiction of a slow, cold-blooded reptile with the speed and agility of a Japanese martial artist. The image was so amusing that the pair thought maybe, well, just maybe, this was something that others would find as amusing and enjoyable as they did. Laird suggested they create a team of 4 such turtles, each specializing with a different weapon. Eastman and Laird often cited the work of Frank Miller and Jack Kirby as their major artistic influences, and much of their early work displays those influences profoundly. So, using money from a tax refund together with a loan from Eastman's uncle, the pair set off on an endeavor of creating a place to make their dream a reality by forming Mirage Studios and self-published a single-issue comic book. Their beginnings were a humble start with a small building and limited resources, but their aspirations of where they could go was limitless. The original origins of the Turtles contain direct allusions to Marvel's Daredevil, which one of their influences Jack Kirby had worked on. Now, the traffic accident in the comic between a blind man and a truck carrying radioactive ooze is a direct reference to Daredevil's own origin story. But the similarities do not stop there. The name of what was to be the Turtles' master/father figure, Splinter, is also a parody of Daredevil's mentor, a blind man that carries a cane sword known as Stick. Now, the reason the cane sword is significant is Splinter's toy came with one. And also, the Foot Clan of evil ninjas in the Turtle franchise, which are predominantly the Turtles' arch enemies, are a satire of the Hand, who were a mysterious and deadly ninja clan in the pages of Daredevil.
So, with that already out of the way, I actually have a second part to that because there was a whole lot of information on there. And you know what? It's kind of a pain in the ass to write all of it down. And I've already done the research on a lot of the extra stuff. So one of the things I do want to talk about is the first time TMNT actually received the licensing. It was actually by way of a board game by Palladium. Now, of course, the TMNT franchise, which was running as just a comic book and then received the board game, and then they had little miniatures, there was a person that actually stepped in, and he wanted to take this franchise a lot further than most comic book fare of merchandise would actually go, and that was Mark Friedman, who was a licensing agent for toy companies. Basically, he would go out there to these different franchisees and he would try to work deals with them with toy companies so they can have a further merchandise catalog to be able to take their franchise to new heights. Unfortunately, when he first went out, all he had was a doll that was basically thrown together by Eastman and Laird. And it was this big, goofy doll that he threw in his car, and he was driving around to all these different toy companies. And toy company after toy company shot him down, said that they didn't want to have anything to do with it. It was just too strange. It doesn't look marketable. It doesn't look like a traditional superhero or a traditional comic book character. Eventually, he wound up in the halls of Playmates. Now, Playmates was actually known for dolls. That is what they were predominantly doing. That was their majority of their sales, but they wanted to be able to compete with the likes of Hasbro and Mattel. And the only way to do that is what every other company was doing at the time, and that was action figures. Action figures were the big craze. So he worked with Playmates and he wanted to get this deal going, but there was a bit of a problem. Before Playmates would even do these figures, before they would go into production, they demanded that a cartoon series came out first. Why? Because this is what the big companies were doing. They were using cartoons, they were using comics as a way to self-promote the toys. So once they got the cartoon going, they started working on the toys. Now, the original cartoon aired in December of 1987. And who wound up being a part of this show as far as the jingle is concerned? Well, that would be Chuck Lorre. Yeah, same Chuck Lorre that worked on The Big Bang Theory and a bunch of other shows. He was not just somebody who created things for TV shows. He was actually a music jingle composer, and he created that incredibly catchy tune for the Turtles.
With the cartoon underway, Playmates held up their end of the deal, and in the summer of 1988, produced the first wave of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures. The premiere series consisted of the four Turtles, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo. Now, the names given to them by Eastman and Laird were not originally what they had planned on. They wanted to give more Japanese-sounding names, but they could not figure out any Japanese-sounding names. So instead, decided to go with something they were more familiar with, which were Renaissance artists, with the help of Laird's copy of Janssen's History of Art. The rest of the figures included Splinter, April O'Neil, Shredder, Rocksteady, Bebop, and a foot soldier. There were also vehicles in the first wave, which included Cheapskate, a strange fan-powered skateboard, the Turtle Trooper, a parachute-like vehicle, the Turtle Blimp, a Zeppelin airship with a turtle shell design on it, and the Foot Knucklehead, a strange multi-armed insect-like vehicle. Each of the vehicles came packaged with a small catalog and a joke book. And like many other toy franchises of the time, there were points to be clipped from the packages and boxes. And if you sent these in with shipping and handling, the mini catalogs offered special mail-away merchandise you could obtain. These mail-aways included VHS tapes, posters, bath towels, and an assortment of other merchandise.
So, if you actually sent those clippable points, because I remember them from the Transformers, they had them on G.I. Joes, they had them on just about every toy franchise at the time in the 80s. So if you clip those things, you send them in with proof of purchase, you could wind up getting something in the mail. I mean, Star Wars did it. And we have JJ with us who knows about those clippables from the old Star Wars toys, I'm sure as well. What's going on,
Yes,
JJ?
sir. Oh, man, sorry I'm late. And sorry to say that I probably won't hang out too long. I'm feeling like ass right now.
It happens. It happens, man. I appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But back in the day, man, I say back in the day, say mid to late 90s, I ate two full boxes of Fruit Loops to get a Han Solo in a Stormtrooper outfit. And don't get me wrong, I love Fruit Loops, but damn, 2 boxes, that was quite a bit. And I was kind of, I know I could have done it over time and just, a little here, a little there, but I wanted that figure. And it's just, you get an obsession like that. No matter if it's Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Turtles, Transformers, whatever, if you love a franchise, you'll do just about anything to get, something from it. And don't get me wrong now, I've done some crazy shit, but 2 boxes of Fruit Loops, no, that was a little much.
Well, here's something that actually I remember from back then. I remember sometimes when you go out to the stores and you would see whether it was a blister card or whether it was a cereal box, every once in a while you would catch where those points were on the box or on the blister card were cut out.
Yes.
So that was an easy way of getting around making the extra purchase. You just went out there and you clipped the damn shit off the box. And then
if I'd have thought about it.
Well, you just needed one. You just needed one with the mail away card on it. That's all you really needed. And then you could clip points off other people's packages and then mail it in.
See, that's something I just didn't really think of. And it should have been common sense at the time. Because that Han Solo, it really wasn't about the points thing. And I know exactly what you're talking about because that assload of them. But it was just like 2 proofs of purchase, the barcodes basically. And, and they're not that big. I'm like, man, I just could have just cut it off the box and I didn't have to eat all these Fruit Loops. But yeah, you go to the store, man, and you see a lot of these things gone. I'm like, yo, what is this? It was a shame, but they had some cool stuff, man. I remember, you talk about the catalogs. I remember, it was either G.I. Joe or Transformers, man. I was like, yo, this shit is cool. Until you got it.
Both of them did it. G.I. Joe did a few different, mail-aways. They did like the Refrigerator Perry. They did that special G.I. Joe where you actually would send in an information card, what your character was going to be named, what he specialized in, what he's supposed to look like, because they gave you like a few options, I think, to pick from for what the toy would look like. And basically, they would mail you back your own little code certificate like you used to get on the back of the G.I. Joe boxes, along with your figure and a certificate claiming that it actually came from Hasbro and is part of the G.I. Joe line. Transformers actually had a slew of figures that were holdovers from the Diaclone era that were never actually produced as part of the Transformers, and most of those were included as the mail-aways, like Reflector, the Omnibots, the oh god, what were the wind-up ones? Now I'm blanking on the wind-up ones. Power Dashers. They also did a few mail-aways that were special, like if you bought Cookie Crisp, you could get a special limited edition Cookie Crisp of Jazz. They also had a couple different versions of the Pepsi Cola truck with Optimus Prime. Then, of course, they did reissues through those mail-aways, and they had like Thundercracker and Skywarp, and I think it was Wheeljack and a few others. But that was one of those things that a lot of the toy companies did back then, and that's something you really don't see a lot today with some of the newer toys. You don't see these special incentives. Oh, well, get into our franchise and buy our toys, and hey, there's special offers for people that were fans and they make purchases. You mail these things in with with shipping and handling, and you can get this free toy. They stopped doing it. I mean, even He-Man did it.
Yeah, because I don't know the exact reason why, but the companies had their plan. Buy more stuff, and in turn, we'll send you some other stuff. And it wasn't free either, because you had to buy the toys or the vehicles or whatever to get the points, but then you had to send the points away. It's kind of like Marlboro miles. Remember the miles on? I don't know if you ever smoked cigarettes, but on the side of Marlboro, man, they had miles.
I think a lot of those ones did. Marlboro had it. My mother used to smoke Winston. Winston had them as well.
Right.
I think even Newport had them.
Buy all this shit. Send us the proofs of purchase or the points, whatever it is, and but don't forget to add the $4.95 shipping and handling or something like that. Camel
as well.
Yeah,
because of the Joe Camel character. Yeah, that they wound up claiming that it was aimed at kids. It really wasn't, but whatever. People are just ready to be offended by anything and everything. It's so hilarious sometimes when people get upset about.
I agree, but as a younger adult, or a kid to a younger adult, depending on what your passion was, it proved that we went to great lengths. All of us. I know even you, Tommy, went to great lengths to get some of this shit. It just shows what kind of people we are, man. If someone tells you, if you do this, you'll get this, they'll find out every way possible to, how am I going to get my hands on that? Because, I did it with the Han Solo. I got the fridge, from G.I. Joe. And there was a couple others.
They did an early version of Sergeant Slaughter with G.I. Joe as well.
Yep. I had it. I never bought the character. I got him free. In other words, I never bought the carded character.
And the funny thing is that character was actually, it was painted differently than the ones they started releasing in the regular toy line. So,
see, I never noticed that, because even after they released Han for whatever short time they did in the outfit, I never seen the fridge on a card. I'm not saying they didn't sell him, but I never saw him. I also, the cheap piece of plastic, the hologram Obi-Wan Kenobi, clear blue plastic blob of sculpture, whatever. We went to great lengths to do this stuff, and they stopped doing it a while back. If they started implementing something like that now, sales might go up, depending on how good the free shit is. Well, not really free. We'll send it to you free, just pay an extra fee. It's like, I've seen the commercials like, it's free, just pay an extra fee. I'm like, you guys are fucking nuts. But anyway, back to what you were talking about. I'm just rambling at this point because I'm actually sitting here trying to multitask. Ain't working well. Trying to tweet
it never does. It never does work well, does it?
No, it don't. No, because I've never been one to have a conversation and try to type or do something else. And it's like, okay, JJ, shut the fuck up.
No, I got a whole bunch of things going on at one time. You got to remember, I'm mentally connected with every single member of the Guinea Pig Collective at any time. So there's hundreds of thousands of things going through my brain at once. What's going on, Shellback?
Hey, Shellback. Oh,
well, I saw on Twitter that Immortal Coil told me that he was going to divorce you if I wasn't on the panel. So I'm just here to save your marriage.
Well, he can't really divorce us because he's been assimilated. So there's no getting out once you've been assimilated.
Sure there is. You've seen 7 of 9. You can get detached. You know, you won't look the
No,
same.
no.
But
See,
still,
see,
you
that-
get
that's-
Right.
detached.
Or Locutus.
Well,
What
that's
about
the
Locutus?
Borg. The Borg are different. They're weak. When you get
They're
assimilated by the
They're
collective,
weak.
it's for life.
Oh my God, they're weak. Oh, man.
So Shellback, I mean, I know you are very fond of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Did you hear most of what I had to say in those clips? The librarian must be holding him hostage again.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shellback.
Wow.
No, I caught the clip. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I did switch over from YouTube to StreamYard though after that, so not quite sure what you guys were talking about the last few minutes, but
Well, we were talking mostly about the points that used to be on the back of the boxes for all the old toys, where you would get the mailaways.
Oh yeah.
And that led
heard
down
part
to
of
a whole
that,
rabbit
yeah.
hole of G.I.
those-
Joe and everything else.
Everybody was doing that, man. I mean, it's like you couldn't go down the cereal aisle, you know, it seemed there for, you know, a few years without, you know, if get a, you know, get this action figure, get that action figure, you know, with, you know, so many purchases of freaking Lucky Charms or Fruit
Mhm.
Loops or whatever. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be Walton Charms? Because he's about the size of a leprechaun.
Ooh, yeah.
What's going on, Curtis? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah. There's nothing charming there. Though.
Well, I guess it all depends from a certain point of view.
Yeah. Well, at least not from
It's always from a certain point of view.
Yeah,
Right.
it's always from the treetops with Walton. But now, you know, talking about turtles, I actually had quite a few of these different figures, and I brought a whole bunch back from my father's house, which was awesome. I'm amazed that they were all, most of them, I should say, were still there. There was actually quite a few that were missing, or possibly I just missed in the pack job because, you know, at a certain point, I just got sick of going through every single thing. And I just started grouping everything together in totes and boxes and just started packing away without even really searching through everything. So there's a good possibility that all the rest of my figures that I've been looking for are actually still sitting in some of those totes back there, and I just didn't notice. What's going on, Shadow Hawk? But I actually found one of the motorcycles with the sidecar, brand new, in a box that my dad had in the basement. I know I've talked about that one before. I mean, my father, you know, was a bit of a hoarder, and when he would buy things for Christmas, he would buy them sometimes way in advance, and he would put them somewhere in the house, and he would almost always forget about them. Like, do you guys remember when there was the Tickle Me Elmo craze?
Yeah.
My first daughter wanted to Tickle Me
I
Elmo
remember.
so
I
bad.
remember freaking soccer moms going crazy on each other. Yeah.
Yeah, just like they did for Cabbage Patch and everything else. But my dad bought one. He bought one early. He tucked it away up in the attic. Something like 7 years later, we found it.
Oh.
By then, my second, you know, it was like 7 to 8 years later. By the time we found it, my second daughter was already born. And she liked Elmo. So we wound up giving it to her.
Oh, that's cold.
Walton
That is-
Rainbow's just one color, brown. Absolutely. Absolutely bone.
That's cold. Wow. 7 years later. Yeah, you didn't get it. She did.
What's up, Cowsoy? Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Make sure you guys share the link out. Make sure you subscribe to everybody who's on the panel. I know some of the links I've actually dropped in the description, and we got a new wrench in the chat today. We got Bone. I'm so glad to finally add somebody else to the wrench collective. We always need good wrenches there. I mean, I know we got Curtis. And Curtis, man, if you want to stop up and you want to talk about some of this stuff, we still got the rest of the TMNT to get through, and then we got Silverhawks, and then we're going to talk about Halloween from 1978. I don't know if JJ is going to be around for that whole thing. Hopefully, JJ will at least stick around for the Silverhawks. I mean, how much time do you have?
It was no set time limit. It was just however long I could just hang out and deal with sitting at my desk. Not a big horror fan, not a big Halloween fan, and I say Halloween indescriptively, not talk about just the movies. You know, not a big Halloween person, not a horror person, not a scary person. It's something that just never really interests me.
Well, when we get to that, if you're definitely not feeling up to it, you can definitely duck out during that.
Well, yeah. No,
doing good, buddy. Doing good.
If you want to talk about some Silverhawks, I'll hang around for that. But as far as Halloween movies or anything else, I'm good. It's just it's blah to me.
Curtis, not good, but good too. I don't know. Transitional period in my life. I don't think I'm fit to be on a live. Sure you are, Curtis. Never say that. What the hell?
No. Hey, Curtis, let me tell you something, man. I've seen you around for a long time now. We met each other in the chat way back. And if you haven't figured it out by now, everybody's talking about, I'm going to do this on YouTube. I'm going to do that on YouTube. But you don't realize this ain't nothing but just one big online therapy group. We talk, we hang out, we talk about stuff that we used to love. Some of us like to bitch about the stuff we used to love. It's just a big therapy session, man. It might do you some good. Just talk about whatever and just forget about life for a while. It helps. I do it all the time. Trust me.
Most definitely. And, once again, thanks, Bone, for stopping in and becoming a new wrench and automatically dropping Curtis's channel. Please, everybody, show the love to Curtis. Soul Assassin, what's going on? Where's your Halloween spirit? Oh, no. Oh, no. I got plenty of Halloween spirit. I think every week I'm dropping a new mini vid for the guinea pigs and Halloween outfits. We've already made it through Cringer and Cliff Jumper, and next up will probably be Darth Helmet, and then I'll do Rorschach last. Then after that, I think I might do a big video about all the weird animatronics that I have for Halloween. Maybe set some of them up, show some of the stuff that I got, because I know I was talking to a couple people like Fancy, and he said, dude, you should definitely show some of them. And I said, I did show a few some years back, at least a year, maybe 2 years ago. But, do an updated one where I'm showing more of them. I don't think that'd be such a bad thing. It's just digging them all out on my own, unfortunately. I don't got no help, so. But, did you have a bunch of the figures at all, Shellback, or did you not?
No. We were, when I was like, I'll say like 1 to 10, or 1 to 12 years old or whatever, it's like I wasn't like poor, but we were like middle, like middle class or whatever, but I still didn't get all the toys, like some of the kids in the neighborhood. So,
well, I know exactly how you feel about that. Yeah. I mean, my father wasn't doing great. Sometimes he had to work 2 jobs, but it was one of the things that I always gave him credit for, regardless of how tight money was. He would always find at least Christmas time and my birthday to get me stuff.
No, I don't know. I don't remember having any Turtles toys. But I did. I watched the cartoon, all the time and stuff like that. But I don't remember having any toys.
That's a shame.
The ones I remember having, as far as toys goes, were, I had like, which I still have, a He-Man and Battle Cat, but I have to, I got to do some shopping, and find some people that deal in vintage toys and
Oh,
toy
wow. You're
parts
starting to
because
break up really
all
bad. Breaking up a little bit.
yeah. Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's getting long and it's
But,
getting drag out. It's almost like
no,
board
man.
games, Shall we
Yeah.
play a game?
Right. Global thermonuclear war.
Bone says,
Anyway,
I had
no,
some of the
yeah,
figures, but I didn't have any
sorry.
vehicles. Yeah. I mean, other than the motorcycle I found, and there was one it was like a van, but the van didn't open up or nothing like that. It was just basically a roll around Playmates van with a movable turret on top. Those are the only two vehicles that I found in the house. So, and Marby Dog, what's going on? G.I. Joe and Star Wars are all I ever needed.
Yeah. And now that's some of the stuff I did have. I had some GI Joe and Star Wars stuff too. In fact, I still have. I still believe I have the. I can't even remember the damn name of it. I keep wanting to call it a warthog, but it's not
The
a
Vamp.
warthog. But
The Vamp.
yeah,
I remember.
yeah,
I remember this conversation. We had this conversation about the Vamp Jeep.
yeah.
Yep, it was the same one that I had, and it came with a
And,
crankcase.
Right. Yeah, and I think I might still have an action figure or two. Although, like I said, what I have left is in a box on the other side of the country. So, and I've still got you know my some Star Wars action figures and the I've got an original Falcon, X-wing, and
LDP Shellback Power Cycle. Your avatar, it's broke.
I don't know what a power cycle is. Is that like a
See, you can't even hit him with a good one back because you're going Oh, it's horrible. I mean, is the library are they throttling the internet for you today?
Is that like a big wheel?
Power cycle. Actually, there was something called the power cycle, and it was very much like a big
wheel or something.
Yeah, well, they had the big wheel, then they had the power cycle or power wheel. Yeah, power wheels make it go. Yeah, power wheels.
Power wheels.
I really found the comic by Eastman and Laird highly enjoyable. Oh, the black and white series, of course. Still have the Raphael-ish solo issue. Always thought he was modeled directly on Wolverine. Well, like I was saying, they took a lot of cues from some of their big fans, especially Kirby. Kirby was like a huge standout figure for both of those guys when they first got started, and they modeled so much of what they did off of Daredevil. It was ridiculous. I mean, that was one of the things I talked about in those clips. I mean, everything, like the foot soldiers were modeled on the hand. Splinter was modeled off of Stick. And even the beginning where you have the truck crash over, it causes Daredevil to become blind. There's a blind man that gets in the way of the truck carrying the TCMI ooze that winds up transforming the Turtles and Splinter. There was a whole bunch of parallels to the both of them, and you could see where they directly took all the influences from Daredevil, which Kirby was highly influential when he was writing it. So switch your avatar to something else, then back again, he says. Maybe that'll help.
No.
I don't know. Stone Cold Jeremy, what's going on? Stone Cold. But
so messed up.
JJ, did you have any of the toys or no? I mean, I know you had G.I. Joe, and I know you had a lot of Star Wars figures. So,
well, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, I had a couple of Transformers, but I never was a Turtle fan. I watched the cartoons, but my primary focus growing up was, the what I call the top three. But don't get me wrong now. Don't get me wrong. I remember seeing the Turtles, in the black and white, and I thought they were kind of interesting, but never really read them because I'm not a book person either. I just, how do I get by in life without reading a book? And I know a lot of people think that, but I thought they were cool, but it's just not something that I felt like I wanted to go spend money on. Even the re-releases or the remakes and like the He-Man figures and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, I don't have room to live as it is. I don't need to be starting adding a lot of toys on top of that because once I start, I won't stop. And it's, but I thought they were cool. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against them. Every once in a while, if I can find one, I like watching one of the old school cartoons. Hasbro's got the original G.I. Joe series, live streaming right now. And if I can find some Turtles and some Transformers, Oh, speaking of Transformers, real quick, Tommy. A few weeks ago we did Transformers the movie on
that was actually I think that was almost a month ago at this point, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, I lose track sometimes. I bought I think it's the 35th edition, anniversary edition 4K Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gorgeous. For that old of a cartoon, it's gorgeous.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, even the one that, we did on the movie review, which, by the way, if you guys aren't subscribed to JJ, he does random movie reviews every Wednesday. Amazing panel of people that stop by, and sometimes the conversations get incredibly interesting like they did last week. But they did so much work to that original film and cleaning it up, recoloring it, brightening everything, and even like evening out the sound, because some of the sound in those early ones, they were getting a little bit deteriorated. They were getting bad, but they cleaned all that up and they made it seem just the same as when you first went to the movies and seen it. What's going on, Curtis? Welcome.
Hey, Curtis. How you doing, man?
I'm okay.
It's all right. It's okay. It's all right. You're allowed to lie about it a little bit. You got to let everything go.
Son of a Red Shirt. Absolutely no argument. Daredevil was a primary comic influence, but in the early 80s, that's when Wolverine really started to shine, especially with his berserker rage and short temper. And not like Wolverine, however, I am by no means a turtle expert. I just enjoyed the comic. Young Cousins had almost all the action figures. Yeah. You know what? I had quite a few of the figures. My brother actually had a lot more than me because by that time, my parents would pick stuff up for me. Thank you, Bone. Thank you. They would pick stuff up for me. They wouldn't necessarily buy quite as much as they would for my brother because, of course, he was the younger brother, so he was the favorite. So it is what it is. But no, I still had quite a bit of toys that they would pick up, and then I would work like little side jobs for some people, Even when I was only 11, 12 years old, there was a few people that had small shops, or maybe people, I'd go out with people to the flea market and help them work on the table or something like that to make a little extra money. I'd take that extra money of my own, and then I would go purchase some toys. So, there was always ways to get them back then. A little bit more difficult to try to pull some of that stuff off now. Well, then again, sometimes it's not with the internet because you could just sell artwork or you could sell other stuff and you can make a killing, especially if nobody's paying attention on eBay, is not really monitoring who the hell is selling shit like they've done so many times in the past. It's why they had to remove knives and swords and everything else off those sites because people who were underage were purchasing them.
Well, to be honest, one site that I go to, you're talking about knives and swords and stuff like that. It's called TrueSwords.com, man. They got a lot of cool shit. Anybody that knows of the Halo video game, I have an actual energy sword from these people. And for what it is, it's flimsy, yeah, it's for show, yeah, but it is absolutely gorgeous. They do great work. They sell a lot of movie mock-ups from time to time. They did almost a complete Lord of the Rings series set of swords. They even sold Sting. I don't know what you would call Aragorn's sword, but they had that, the Sword of the King. I think they also did from The Hobbit. What's his name? Thranduil or whoever, the leader of the elves, had his sword. Man, they do great work. Not and some of it's cheap, some of it's not so cheap. But if that's your thing, there's always ways to find what you.
Dude, I'm looking at this $80 one. That's really cool, actually.
Oh, did you go there?
Yeah, I went to the site.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
Yeah, Son of a Red Shirt talking about that Transformers movie. They had Orson Welles and Leonard Nimoy doing voice work in that movie. How effing classic is that? Yeah, along with Judd Nelson, Robert Stack, Christopher. Damn, what's his name? Something Idol. Eric Idle.
Eric Idle, yeah. And what's his name? The Micro Machines guy talking real fast.
Macchiato.
Yeah. Weird Al doing some music for it. There's a lot of great talent in that movie. Damn, I was going to say something. But go ahead, Tommy. I'll remember it in a minute.
Okay. And Dead Punk Gage, what's going on? Welcome. I had Michelangelo, and that was it. The old Nintendo game is what got me into it. Yeah, I remember that old Nintendo game. You're talking about the one on the original NES system, right? Or are you talking about, I think they also had like a Game Boy version too. I found the old Tiger Electronics game. The little handhelds, the little cheap handhelds they used to have. What's going on, Vinny?
Hey, Tommy. Hey, everybody. How we doing?
Hey.
Vinny, what's going on, man?
John Macchiato. Yep.
Was there only one NES game? Or was there more than one?
I only seem to recall the one, and I remember they had this computerized version of, I think it was Come Together by the Beatles playing throughout it. Because there was one I just remember do 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 do, and they just looped it, but it was computer generated, so it sounded a little bit weird. Yes, the original Nintendo version. Yep. Oh, what was that, JJ?
No, I said that great 8-bit video game music.
Yeah.
Classics.
Red Gaze, what's going on? The Gaze Agenda. Yo.
What's up, buddy?
But well, we were talking about the turtles. I ran down the history of the turtles. We were just talking about what we had of the turtles, what we remembered of the turtles. So go ahead, chime in, Vin.
Oh, very cool. Oh, dude, yeah. I was a kid. I had all that stuff, all those turtles. Dude, but yeah, I know they got to a point where it became too much. Like they didn't know what they're doing with the toy lines as well. They just kept trying to crank out new characters. They didn't know heads or tails of what the hell to do with them. So it's like, yeah, even as a kid, like I bailed out at a certain point.
Well, they started getting crazy with it. They started making like samurai turtles. They were making Old West turtles. They were doing wrestling figures. I mean, they were doing a little bit of everything. And part of that was actually that guy. Geez, why am I blanking on his name? Just Mark Friedman. When Mark Friedman got into the merchandising for this, when he decided to, he told them, you need to take this beyond what normal comics would do. This could be a huge franchise. He really was the one that was pushing them. Oh, do this, do this, do this. I mean, a lot of people don't realize when they had to do the cartoon first, and then when they started making the toys, as soon as the toys hit and the toys were a big hit along with the cartoon, he was already pushing them to try to do a movie. He actually wanted the movie made by something like either 88 or 89. He wanted the movie made. Because he was one of those guys, he believed you struck when the fire was hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw they had the special on Netflix on them, the toys that made us. And they covered a lot of that stuff too, which it was interesting what they did. But yeah, they got very, very greedy and thirsty for more.
Yes, Universal Monster Turtles. I got all. I think I have all 4 of them.
Oh wow.
Tommy's got a lot of shit that we can only just dream of having. That's just crazy.
Oh, dude, yeah, you got boxes and boxes of stuff.
Yeah,
I got more than one person should actually have stuffed into their house. Curtis, did you say you did or didn't have any of the toys? I don't even remember if you chimed in about this.
I didn't, but I didn't have any of the toys. I had one of the NES games. I think it was the original, but I'm not sure. But it didn't side scroll on its own. You would walk and it would move with you, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's where I fell in love with the purple turtle. And I've never actually memorized all the names.
Purple
to them.
is Donatello.
Donatello, okay. And Michelangelo's what, the orange one?
Yep.
Okay, and then Raphael's the red one then, right?
Yep. And then one more. Come on. You got it.
Who is Donatello? No.
No.
L.
Oh, Leonardo.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like
they were all named after ancient artists, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Well, like I was saying in that little intro that I played earlier, they didn't even want to go with those names. They actually wanted to go with Japanese sounding names, but they couldn't figure it out. Mm-hmm. And that's when he pulled out that book of the history of great artists, and they just chose names from there.
It's brilliant too.
Yeah, it worked. It gave an extra level of class to all of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed like the.
And as a kid, as kids, it's a good way to help them learn because, well, who's Michelangelo? Who's Donatello? And if they stick around enough to learn the story of the turtles, they're artists, and it make them want to look into it. Like, why did they pick these names? Learn about. I thought it was a great learning tool, but maybe.
It's a great point for sure, man. That's absolutely it. Because how else are you gonna get people invested in stuff? And saying that too, like Splinter when he talks about it. I remember as a kid too, like I wanted to know who these artists were. It's a smart way of approaching things. So yeah, heck goes up to those guys.
I am not sure, Dead Punk Gage. I don't recall if they ever did. I mean, they were making so many different figures at that point. I didn't get them all, and I wasn't paying attention to them all. And Shellbach, yes, there are Universal Monster Turtles. I will have to DM you a picture later. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Shellbach.
Yeah. Well, you know why I every once in a while say that is because that's how Culture Casino always says it. I don't know why he says it like that, but
what the hell is wrong with Culture, Shellbach?
That's Culture. Tail 29. What's going on? Welcome.
Thank you for
coming. What up, buddy?
Yep. RR, what's going on? Everybody in the chat, thank you for coming. We greatly appreciate it every week. Especially knowing now that Tommy's back. He's back better than ever.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Have you guys seen any of the NECA stuff?
The what?
NECA.
The NECA figures. Yeah. No. I seen some of them. They look really good.
Yeah, man. I saw some of the movie ones. They're like impossible to get. I think they just dropped Super Shredder. I saw them in the stores, but I don't have any of the other ones, so I wasn't going to bother. But they're doing a killer job with a lot of their new releases. Like the past 2 years have been amazing.
Yeah, NECA has been putting out some amazing stuff along with Diamond Selects. I mean, if you've seen some of the Diamond Select stuff, holy shit!
Yes,
they've been knocking it out of the park too.
Yeah, they're upping the game over there for sure. Yeah, I've done
someone needs to. Someone needs to because toys suck today.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think this is one of the reasons why when you get these retro releases that are coming out, like the real Ghostbusters, Masters of the Universe, and they even recently just did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a retro release, looking like the original figures. That's why these things sell like hotcakes, because that's what people want. They did the same thing with Transformers, because Transformers was the first one that jumped on board with that, and they started doing it all the way back in like 2009 when they started releasing them. And they would sell out. Like, when I used to go to Toys R Us all the time, I knew where the places they would hide the extra figures, like up above the top of the shelves. Mm-hmm. So I would just climb up the shelf and I would look all the way in the back and find the figures that were stuffed back there and take them. before anybody else figured out where they were.
And so
That's
tells
exactly
me
what
the people
they did.
people that are stocking the shelves are doing that shit.
Some
Like,
of them,
yeah, I want these. I'm gonna hide them.
some of them, I've even seen like other collectors when they do like their toy hunts. If there's something extra and there's another collector in the area, if they don't buy it there, they'll hide it somewhere in the store and then message that person and they'll come and get it.
Mm.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy because a lot of them too. There's a lot of those people who also do like the scalping. They'll take them over on eBay and charge like 4 or 5 times what it's worth if they're really hard figures to get. And do Soul Assassin, yes, the NECA gargoyles, dude, that thing looks killer. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get my hands on one. They did Goliath from the Gargoyles cartoon.
I was never huge. Cartoon. Yeah, I was never huge into that cartoon. That was more like my brother's time.
Yeah,
of watching cartoons. I watched a few of them with him, but I mean, I remember it. I thought it was cool, but it wasn't something I was into at the time. But I remember they were doing all those releases, like in like Burger King, I think it was. They were doing like the giveaway figures and stuff like that. Since they got the personalities mixed up. Michelangelo, the artist, was known for being hard-headed and a grouch, much more appropriate for Raphael.
I would say so too. Yeah, Michelangelo was a little bit more of a loon. He's the one who thought that David came alive, and that's why he tried to smash it. Like, yeah, guy he lost his marbles a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Vinny just did one recently on the Frankenstein monster. Man, that thing looked great. Miss Martin says hello there.
Hello. Yeah, I reviewed the Frankenstein. That thing is one of their best figures. I got to say that. It's like their Rip Bars crawl up right out of the movie. I don't know how the hell they put the detail in at that size as well. But yeah, the articulation was so good and so smooth on it. No issues whatsoever on that figure.
Lasso Truth, what's going on? Welcome. Thank you for coming. Man, I appreciate all you guys that are stopping by. Make sure you share the link out. Make sure you smash that like button. Or you will be assimilated. Well, then again, you're probably going to get assimilated anyway, so let's just make this easier.
What? I'm at the basically the NECA website, and I'm just looking through their movies, right? What they got for I guess movie characters. They have got all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah,
Ace Ventura, freaking E.T., Escape from New York.
Yeah, they got a lot of licenses, and I'll tell you why. That guy Randy used to work at McFarlane. I used to work with him, and he was kind of in charge of the licensing department, so to speak. And when he left, he took his Rolodex. That's how they ended up getting a lot of the big licenses. He teamed up with someone who's got a lot of money, and they made this company.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Randy was interesting.
RR makes it. I'm sorry, Ben. Real quick, let me just grab this. So RR actually makes another good point. Leonardo, the artist, is famous for his flying machine drawings. He had a whole bunch of inventions that he created. It wasn't just the flying machine. He created like a tank. Oh God, what else did he make? He made like tons of different things.
Well, he was like a scientist as well. He used to dissect the bodies. That's how he learned how anatomy works properly.
Right.
And that's the thing that kind of was getting him a little bit in trouble as well. You don't just exhume these bodies.
Anybody here a Batman fan?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Let me have you screen for a minute, Tommy.
Now I heard that Leonardo actually kind of copied those notes off of his mentor.
89 Batman, Michael Keaton, his grapple gun.
Dude, that's crazy. But yeah, no, I heard a couple of different stories as well, and there's a couple of different things that are documented. They said
Which
it was
doesn't really diminish, but
No, but he did do it as well.
Yeah,
I think
he understood. But yeah, I believe that his mentor. There was a lot of people that basically had these ideas twirling in their heads.
Well, it's also because of the way that they had it. They sort of did have like these almost like a art school kind of studio type thing, and they would they brought in bodies or they did certain things. Like it wasn't just one person that was looking over all of it. So They broke it down to study all of it because they wanted to know what was gonna.
Well, that makes sense too. Yeah.
Yeah, how the body worked, and it also helped with doctors as well. It wasn't just like he did it on his own, like Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah. Yeah. It really helps to think about it like that too.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, I know that it did ruffle feathers over a certain area as well during that time.
No, they looked on it almost as heresy in a way too. What's going on, Captain Trek? Welcome. But
Welcome.
one of the things is like what I was talking about. They wanted to actually start that movie early on. And
I wanted to say I love that. I love the first movie. When I was a kid.
We got that first movie in 1990, and it blew people away. Now, a lot of people say that it was very much like the original comics. It was kind of like a cross. It was somewhere in between the comics and the cartoon because there was a lot more of a sillier side to those turtles in the movie than were present in the original comics. Because the comics, it was pretty gritty.
Yeah.
I got the collected version of that, Vinny. Did you see that one? It's like a big soft trade. Like it's almost like a mini compendium. It's got all the original like run of the Turtles books. I forget how many issues are in it, but it's even got the one shot with Raphael where they introduced Casey Jones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good good stuff. Man.
That's fucking cool. I haven't seen it. I haven't had my hands on that.
No, I got lucky. It was the only one that was sitting on the shelf. It looked like they might have had a bunch at one time because, I mean, the rest of the shelf around it was bare. So I'm assuming that people just snagged it up. But, yeah, I found that. I was like, oh, yeah, I got to have that. Got to have that.
Those collected editions, they are harder to get. I know, like, I wanted to get the Invincible one. There was, like, when Borders Books was going out of business, and one of my friends beat me to it. He got there, like, the day before me, and he's like, oh, yeah, I got the whole, like, they had the whole compendium or whatever. For like $30 or some shit. I was like, dude, I was literally gonna go in and grab that. But yeah, because those things always shoot up in value too.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast some of them sell out, and then it's kind of funny how other ones they don't do anything. They basically die with the franchise, Well,
it depends on the series, and if people still find it in demand or they really liked it. The Turtles, I mean, it was so gritty and so it was something so different. That they did gravitate towards it. Even the movie, like they had another cut that was a little bit darker than what they did, but they still wanted to push it more. For what they did, I think 1990, there still was a lot of very dark elements in that movie.
Oh, definitely.
But they obviously made it more for kids, so I think it worked.
So one of the other things I wanted to hit real quick about some of those figures is one of the things that they actually had to do with the original mold, because when they were making these turtles. And they were going to, obviously they did the cartoon first. The first thing that they did is they kind of like removed the tails a little bit in some of the cartoons. And they actually snipped the tails off the molds. Yeah. Originally, the turtle toys were supposed to have the tails just like they did in the comics, but it didn't look like a tail from a certain angle or from a certain shade, shall we say, if they were in the dark. So
the silhouettes were like they were low hanging fruit.
They were packing more than weapons.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. RR, the cartoon is where the pizza and cowabunga stuff come from. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, they did mention pizza a few times in the original comics, but nowhere near as much as they mention it in the cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's New York. I mean, obviously, there's pizzerias like at every corner. you can't have them not like pizza.
And it's got to be that New York style pizza, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, they always made that pizza look so good, too, in the cartoon.
Yeah. Well, New York pizza is pretty damn delicious.
Never had it.
Didn't Pizza Hut get a big boost off that?
Oh, wait, no, I have had Boston.
Well, they cut those deals all the time, with movies and franchises and shit.
Every single one of those fast food restaurants usually got involved with one of those franchises. I remember when the prequels came out for Star Wars, you had Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut had teamed up to put out exclusive toys for the prequels for Episode 1.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, because
Yeah,
they know how much money the originals did, so they wanted to get all a piece of it, and they overproduced those, and none of them were worth shit. Well,
Yeah, I wound up getting, at one point, I had the entire collection from all 3 restaurants.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it was sitting over the other house that my dad had, which used to belong to my grandfather, and it all got stolen.
oh shit.
I was so pissed off. I'm still a little bit agitated about that, but you know, what are you
Yeah,
gonna
dude,
do?
you have a massive collection, dude. An absolute massive collection. That's amazing.
Well, I've told Tommy several times, in the past year,
Mhm.
he doesn't realize the haul that he got yet.
Mm-hmm.
Once he has a chance, it's going to take him a while because we've all seen, most of us have seen how much shit he brought back. Once he has a chance to go through it and start cataloging some of this stuff and getting it out of his, I hate to use the term, but getting it out of his hair,
Mm-hmm.
He's got his own little bankroll right there. And
Oh yeah.
I know it. Most of us know it. I'm just waiting for Tommy to realize it.
Oh, I already
gonna-
know it, JJ.
It's going to blow you away, for real.
No, I already know. I'm overwhelmed really by the sheer amount of crates that I brought back. I mean, when I was up there cleaning up, I knew it was a lot, but I really didn't realize how big it was until I got it in my house.
Yeah.
Pat, what's going on? Welcome.
What up?
We know you brought a lot of stuff back, okay? But I'm just talking about just the toys. Just the toys. It's a bad thing. I still, my heart goes out to you for losing your father like that. But just the sheer amount of toys this man had, I was like, I wish I had a dad like that, for real.
That was the funny thing, though. I mean, he was so good with that kind of stuff. I mean, not only did he buy for my brother and me, and what was both my daughters at one time, but he would actually buy extra, saying, "Oh, I know they'd like this," and he would just collect stuff that we liked. No particular reason, no idea that he was going to give us these toys, but he would just collect them anyway because he knew we liked them.
That's cool. That is absolutely awesome.
And here's something I don't think I'll ask you, Tommy. After you started, I'm talking about after your first good, I'm gonna say couple months of you being up in Jersey, and you started finding all this stuff. Did it really start blowing you away about what your dad had gotten?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, not only the fact that he kept all the toys from my childhood and my brother's childhood, but the fact that he picked up so many extra things, like I'm saying, like the stuff that he knew we liked that he would buy too and start collecting. I was astounded by the sheer plethora of different franchises that he collected. I mean, it wasn't just like he was huge into Star Trek and Star Wars and stuff like that. But the fact that he had all these other toys outside of those franchises too, it just, I was taken aback by it.
Yeah, that's impressive. Most impressive.
I thought the movie did a good job blending the comics with the cartoon. Yeah, well, I'm not saying it didn't, but I've heard people say, "Oh, it was just like the comic." No, not exactly. But I mean, it did a good job going in between the two.
You talking about the first Turtles film?
Yeah.
I actually like that. I like that one and the second one. I know they weren't the best work ever, but I like them because I thought they were entertaining. You throw in the Turtles in Time, and you can just throw that one out the window.
Yeah. I didn't care for that. When Tommy starts selling stuff, I hope he remembers the friends and family discount. Ask Wookie about that. He knows about that. Stephanie Littlepage, what's going on? How you doing?
Good to see you, Miss Stephanie.
Hello.
Hope everything's okay.
And Shifty Gizm, what's going on? Remember those Burger King
Shifty.
Star Wars glasses they put out for the original trilogy? The artwork on those were so awesome. All those glasses were put out during the era was great. Yeah, I actually got a few of them. I actually brought a couple more back. I mean, I already had one with the Boba Fett and Vader on it, but I brought a few more back. And also, do you guys remember like the old Ronald McDonald glasses where they had Grimace and Captain Hook, or the Hook, like the Captain Hook looking figure?
Yeah.
Damn,
I always forget what his
Tommy,
name was, but
I think that one right there, the one you just said, the one with Boba Fett and Vader on it.
Mhm.
I think that's one I'm missing because as far as The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, if I remember right, it was a 5-glass set, and I've got 4 of each. I don't have none of A New Hope, but I've got 4 of each of them, and I think that one is the one I'm missing for the Empire.
well, if I ever stumble
Damn.
across the second one, because there was actually a whole slew of glasses that I brought back,
Right.
all kinds of different ones. So if I have a double of it, yeah, I will let you know.
Dude. Well, man, yeah, but I don't have the glasses no more, as you know, and some other people know. After my divorce, I had to get rid of everything, so I didn't sell it. I just went ahead and did what I was planning to do with it. It all went to my granddaughter early. She's got the glasses, she got the sabers, the figures, the ships, the Legos. She's got all of it, and I was quite proud of it, man. I put a lot of money and time into it.
Mhm.
Since the mid '90s, man, I've spent over 10 grand just to collect this shit, and I never
It
thought I'd
definitely
ever
adds
come to
up.
say to it. Yeah, I never thought I'd come to say that because I actually had 2 collections. My first ex-wife kept the first collection. You know, I'm like, you dumb heifer. But my second ex, she said, I'm not going to take your stuff from you. She goes, whatever you want to do with it, you're going to do with it. You know, we split up, you keep it. I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you. But I just thought, man, I got a granddaughter. I started introducing her at a very early age to Star Wars. By age 4, she knew who Vader was. She knew who Darth Maul was. She knew who Yoda was.
Nice.
And she could look at you and tell them who they are, tell you who they are. It's just one of them things I've been trying to slowly introduce her to it. You know, a new generation. She's 11. She's almost 12 years old. And she has some interest in it, but not where I'd like it to be yet. Still working on it.
Right.
But yeah, I tried my best packing this shit into a little room. I could have put it throughout the house and it still ran out of space. Couple hundred figures, you know, about 30 different Lego ships and sets and
Wow.
all kinds of, you know, vehicles and posters and even the stupid, you know, like when the prequels came out, man, you seen these little robotic or mechanical lollipops. You know, the handles were like lightsaber hilts. I had a couple of those. It's just, man, I miss it. I miss it. I really do. I miss it.
Real quick, I want to hit something in the chat.
Go ahead.
Stephanie Littlepage, actually, we have until tomorrow to settle our hotel bill, and we're back to sleeping in the van. Yeah, I know that you and the captain are actually having trouble. So, if somebody can, share Captain Robert April's Twitter link to where he has fund. I believe he has a GoFundMe or he has a PayPal. I always forget which one it is. But if somebody could share that for them, and if anybody in here can or is willing to help them out, please stop by and check it out, or at least share it out for them. And Darius, what's going on, Darius? Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Darius.
Hello.
And JP's is in the house as well. Indoctrination. Yeah, we're indoctrinating people. Absolutely.
Okay.
We're making them
all
turtle
right.
lovers.
It's a PayPal link. It's a PayPal link. Everybody, this is Captain Robert April's Twitter, but I'm putting in the chat. Go to the pinned link. No, the pinned tweet at the top of it, and that'll give you the information you need if you think you're able to help. It would be greatly appreciated because he's one of our own. He's been around just about as long as me and Tommy has, if not longer. As far as here on YouTube, he goes a little bit of everywhere. So does Miss Stephanie. You know, these are some great people. They don't need to be going through what they're going through right now. And if you can't donate, if you can't help, you still can help. Tweet it out, get the word out, let people know. because I don't know about anybody else. I can't stand to see people that's in need and everybody just turned a blind eye, because to me that just shows that we don't care. And I'm sorry, we're all passionate about something, okay? But we can't. I can't idly sit by and watch somebody go without when I'm sitting here going, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. Damn, I need a new monitor for my computer. It just don't seem right to me.
A little bit of compassion goes a long way.
Absolutely, man.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to get back to other people in the chat.
Go ahead, Tommy.
Gage, oh, Lord, I remember I used to have some of those old Star Wars collector glass. You can get them for $2 with a Happy Meal. Yeah, I think they were like $1.99. Like most of those things are always something 99. RR, the movie, definitely borrowed from the original Shredder Stairs arc in the comics, but it used the personalities from the cartoon as well as used the April O'Neil from the cartoon. Yes, because the April O'Neil in the comics actually worked at the TMRI lab. All right, Shellback, you have a good one. Thanks for coming in. I'm glad you got to pop on the panel for a little bit. It's a shame about the internet. Shellback actually still has a GoFundMe going too, so if you want to help out a veteran or at least spread the word so a veteran can get some help because he's not doing very well either, make sure to check him out as well. And RR also says the movie did change Raphael with Leonardo when it came to who got beaten into unconsciousness. And it was Shredder who beat the shit out of Leo in the comic. Yep. Candy Cane, hello there. Welcome.
Hello, Candy. What's up, darling?
So I think other than the rest of the movies, which I didn't care about, they did do that newer cartoon. Like, what was that? Like 2012 or something? What was that? Was that Turtle? No, that wasn't Turtle. What the hell was that one? Turtle something. The first time I seen it on Netflix. But it basically had them dealing with a guy who was an ancient like Aztec warrior or something to that nature, and they had all these monsters that they had to send back through a warp gate in order to return him back to real life so he could pass on. That one was done very well, and it felt a lot more like the old cartoons.
Okay.
Yeah, I like some of the other iterations I didn't like. Do you guys remember they did that really terrible live action series that kind of they played off it was the same guy who did like Power Rangers, and they brought him in to do a live action Turtles.
Yeah, I know of it. I never saw it though.
I did not know that.
I seen some of it. It was bad.
It sounds pretty horrible.
Patrick Stewart did the voice in that movie. In the movie we're talking about,
I think I don't I forget all the voices. Captain is also a veteran. Yeah, absolutely. We should always give respect to the veterans.
What is out? Is it out for real? What's today?
Today's
18th. No, Stephanie just said she just got through watching the new Dune. It just ain't supposed to be released until the 22nd.
I hope it's good. I have a feeling it's going to not be up to my par, but I still hope.
Yes, Soul Assassin. Yeah, that's when they introduced the girl turtle who didn't exist.
Oh yeah.
Hey, real quick.
I liked him all as a kid.
Is that Wookiee?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. He's always changing his name. What's going on, Wookiee? I'm always going to call you Wookiee. I ain't calling you by what the fuck you going to change it by.
What up, Wookiee?
But we're going to close out Turtles with just a tiny clip.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell.
Turtle power.
I kind of cut it this way they don't try to come after me. Yeah,
seeing the little baby turtles transforming into like powerful turtles, I always love that.
You know, and it still cracks me up when I think about Chuck Lorre wrote that.
Yeah,
you know, I love that they put it in the video game.
Yes,
not the entire song, but they tried to recreate the opening, and I love that.
Nice, man.
All right. Yeah. I was hoping for Vanilla Ice.
Ninja, rap, ninja. Yeah, whatever.
Ninja, go, Ninja, go. Oh,
That was it.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Turtles 1 and Turtles 2, I love the soundtracks to it. Even the Vanilla Ice, man, it didn't matter to me. I liked it.
White baby.
Yeah, wow. What are you fucking with me right now? Stop it. Stop it.
Do I have a choice? This is just
Yes,
what I do.
you have a choice. You have a choice. Yes. You just choose not to. No, man, excuse me. Let me reword that. You just choose not to use your choice. There we go.
All right,
That
so I
made
want to
no
get
damn sense. It was all good. Go ahead.
I want to get into the second topic. How much do you guys know about Silverhawks before we get started? Because I got actually a small presentation clip that I'm going to play for it. That's got most of the pertinent information, so we can actually discuss it.
Yeah, I know a good amount. It's been a while since I watched them, but I even had a friend who worked on the original series.
Awesome.
Damn, son, you got friends everywhere, Vinny.
Yeah, it's I lived a colorful life in the entertainment business here.
Wow, it's kind of funny you say colorful life. That's awesome.
Yeah, well,
Being an artist.
Yeah, it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine, but but I always did the work. I was always professional about all that stuff. So yeah, and I met a lot of people through conventions though too. So yeah, like that one friend, like I knew him from the convention scene. He's actually the one who took over Ren and Stimpy, but he worked on the original Thundercats and Silverhawks as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to run this clip, and then after we run, because I had to split it up into 2 clips because StreamYard just won't let me put that much information onto a single clip, them bastards. So
they allow what, 200 meg? Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to run both clips, and then we're going to get into discussion about it. I hope this brings back a lot of memories for everybody, not only on the panel, but everybody in the chat. So here we go. Everybody kept requesting Silverhawks. Now we're going to talk about it.
The Silverhawks. Now, the Silverhawks action figure collection was produced by Kenner in 1987 on the heels of the animated show produced by Rankin Base Productions, the same company that made the Thundercats, and they attempted to follow the Thundercats' success with another space-inspired franchise. Now, originally, LGN, the makers of the Thundercats figures, decided to pass on the project at the last minute, and Kenner was partnered with instead, and the toys were produced much like Kenner's highly successful Super Powers collection. Each figure was roughly 4 to 5 inches tall and had an action feature such as squeezing legs to make the arms move, much in the same way that Kenner had done with that Superpowers collection line. And nearly every figure included a bird cyborg-like companion that had an action feature of its own. Now, later on, figures included some sort of action accessory. Now, these weren't new characters, but these were just re-released characters, and instead of coming with a bird companion, they would come with an action accessory, and usually this was some sort of weapon. And a special series called the Hero Figures came with vacuum metallized chrome on those figures.
So that was just the first clip. Are you guys starting to get the feels already?
Oh yeah, dude. I had a lot of those things, man.
All right, we're going to just move right into clip 2 so we can get through both of them, and then we can get right into the discussion about that. I hope everybody in the chat is hanging with us. I hope they're enjoying it so far. And here we go.
And like most other lines, there were various vehicles and beasts designed to actually interact with the figures and were designed in the same manner with various attacks and mechanisms triggered by maybe a button, and they actually included firing projectiles. Now included in the list of figures was Quicksilver with Tallyhawk, Bluegrass with Sideman, Steelheart with Razor, Steel Will with Stronghold, the Copper Kid with Mayday, Stargazer with Sly Bird, Hot Wing with Gyro, Flashback with Backlash, Moonstriker with Tailspin, Condor with Jetstream, Monstar with Sky Shadow the Bat, Hardware with Prowler the Green Dragon, Molecular with Shredder, Mumbo Jumbo with Airshock. And as has happened with so many other series around the same time, once again, Marvel, yes, Marvel Comics also wound up doing a short series of 7 issues for the Silverhawks, which ran from 1987 till 1988. Unfortunately for the Silverhawks, the TV show, which would have helped promote sales, ran only for 65 episodes in 1986, starting in September and ending in December. Now, without the cartoon to help promote this toy line and only a short 7-issue comic book series, this toy line did not stand a chance without those promotional tie-ins. And as a result, this line barely limped into 1988 before being canceled.
So there we go.
Nice
that pretty
presentation,
much.
brother.
Hey, man. Well, I used to do a whole series, and I need to get back to it. Talking Toys, and
Yes.
a lot of that information is the stuff that I took from my Talking Toys videos. Because I could sit here and talk about it, but I can actually present it like that, where it's already formatted in a more presentable way, and then we could talk about it afterwards.
Beautiful.
So, Bone says I watch Silverhawks after school. If you
Same
choose
here.
not to decide, you still have made the same choice. Tally ho. Tally hawk. What's going on, Luffy? Is God welcome? Copper Kid. Can't go wrong quoting Rush.
Yeah, the intro to that cartoon was so damn good.
Yes.
It's another one of those shows that this is another one. I remember this show because my brother used to watch it heavily. I don't really recall him having a lot of the figures, though. I thought he had 1 or 2, but I couldn't seem to find them.
Yeah, I had mostly I guess from more of the first series, the original castmates, like those other secondary Silverhawks that you had even towards the end of the video. I don't remember them as vividly as the other ones, because there were 6 of them right off the bat, and then there was the chief of police, pretty much, or the space police.
Oh, what's going on, Captain Robert April? Yeah. Once again, it was just another one of those things, because actually most of these toy franchises at the time in the 80s, they were living and dying off of the success of a cartoon that was paired with it, more so than the comics. Not to say that the comics didn't help, but when you only have, they had only a 7-issue series, and it was towards the back end after the cartoon had already ended. That's just not good. They really did not plan anything out very well when it came to the Silverhawks. Yeah, they made the cartoon first to generate interest. It came in with the toys. They should have came in with the comics immediately.
Yep.
Maybe if they would have did that, it would have extended the life of it. But there were so many things out. You had the Insectoids. You had shortly thereafter they had, what was it, the Inhumanoids or something. All those other franchises that were out at the time, like Transformers, GoBots. You had Mask.
Yeah.
There, He-Man was still relevant at the time.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. I'd say what really buried a lot of these things too is as soon as Batman came out, 89 Batman, most kids were gravitating towards that type of stuff rather than just the cartoons.
It's a shame, though. It really was a shame.
Oh, I agree. But then DC was also, they were wise in that matter, and they knew the cartoons was going to bring even more interest back into Batman on top of it. So that's why they greenlit the animated series, and they were working on that while they were doing the second film and all that kind of shit.
You are absolutely right. They were trying to sell action figures instead of building a mythology, and that was one of the things that they did right with the Thundercats. I think they had the right company working on the cartoon, It was just unfortunately they didn't have the people behind it with good enough stories to feed Rankin Bass
Yep.
in order to make this thing stand out like they did with the Thundercats.
Yeah, Thundercats, you could tell that they put a whole lot more into it. The lore of it, the world, and all that. And then even like it's like they had their own kind of like Third Earth was another dimension in our universe. Like they really tied in a lot. You know, you could tell that those people who were writing the stories, they really cared about the product and where they were going to go with it all. But like truthfully, like it's been forever since I've seen Silverhawks, so like I can't talk that much on it. But I remember it was one of those cartoons I really did enjoy a whole lot. And the toy line was pretty great.
I was going to say, I know JJ is probably chomping at the bit to say something.
Well, you know, I was looking at the chat while you was looking, showing the clip, and it is almost a direct mirror version of Thundercats, in some form, because bluegrass, man, I love bluegrass. I'm not a big country fan, but I love bluegrass.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same guy that voices Lima. And the story itself, I thought it was a great story. You know, an outer space adventure, not based on Earth. You know, you got these people and beings done up like birds. It was just, I don't know. I don't know exactly what drew me to it, except for maybe the fact that I've always wanted to be a pilot. I love to fly.
Sure.
And then when I saw this, I'm like, yo, I love Thundercats, but I'm like, yo, this got Thundercats beat.
Well, I got to ask you something though, JJ, real quick. I mean, you're saying you wanted to be a pilot and you wanted to fly.
Are you high?
No, not that kind of flying. No, not that kind of flying. No.
Oh shit!
What's going on, Optic Racer?
Optic Racer, what's going on?
What up?
Hey.
But yeah, man, I love it. I love this franchise. You know, and shamefully, I love this franchise, but I don't really know a lot about it. You know, when you started playing the clip, I never knew there were comics. I knew about some of the toys, but not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact they all came with a bird was ridiculous, I thought, or a bird, some form of bird sidekick. I'm like, man, there was only one, and he's right behind me. You know, it's like this motherfucker here. That was the only one, and he was Stargazers, not Quicksilver. So I just loved it, man. You just find something and you see something, and you really don't get to watch much of it, but you watch it, you be like, oh my god, I love this shit. You know, I've been looking for a good set of either Blu-ray or DVDs to see if they sell them of the series, because I'd buy them in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's I do the same, because like I remember like they had pretty good stories of those characters. Well, at the time, like I said, I don't remember the details, but I know like the brother and sister, Steelheart and Steel Will, like it was really cool concepts of what they did. But like even like the figures, like you never saw anything like that before. They didn't really have like metallic figure lines out there, or like, you know, or it's supposed to look like, you know, like metallic kind of shine to it.
Just like anything else, the way they were made. I think Tommy could back this up.
Be well, son of a red shirt. Thank you.
Have a good one, red shirt.
Later, son of a red shirt.
You know, you get a figure like that over time. You know, if you open the package and legitimately play with, you know, as a child or whatever, over time, that chrome just wears off. It comes off, peels off.
Yeah.
And I wish there would be a way they could redo that without that happening.
They actually can. They can redo them now, JJ. There's a few companies that actually do the vacuum, you know, the metal vacuumization again. What they have to do is they have to take your figure and they have to take it and strip it down. So what you need to do is, if you want to send them a figure to get re-metallized, you should take anything off of it that you don't want metallized. So you just send them just the parts that are going to be metallized. And what they'll do is they'll strip it down. They'll repaint it, I think, with a black gloss or something like that, so the vacuumized metal is a little bit more shiny, and then they redo it and you get those parts back. I'm not really sure how much it costs per piece, but I've seen people where they've sent pieces of, like, just say Optimus Prime with the smokestacks that were chromed, or
Yeah.
maybe other stuff off Prime, and they would get them back, and they looked amazing.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. I know that there's another company that's actually making new Silverhawk figures. It's something 7.
Super 7.
Super 7, yeah.
I wonder if it's got anything to do with the supposed reboot or remake of the show.
Yes, because the guy said that he wanted to bring the whole franchise back, not just the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That'd be great.
Well,
Yeah, because they have to. They have like I think 2 or 3 toy prototypes that are out there, like for like that. They put out like those pre-orders and stuff just to see what interest they could get. Since Thundercats did so well for them, so that's pretty cool.
But yeah, no, I love the series. Like I said, it's a shame I don't know a lot about it. But from what I've seen, I fell in love with it from like first episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm one of the ones. Every time Tommy put up his toy videos, I'm like, dude, when you doing Silverhawks? And he finally did it, and I was like, cool.
That's nice.
Wasn't Rankin Bass around that too? Because Rankin Bass worked on it, and eventually Rankin Bass did wind up being sold out. They got bought out by somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they did, like any projects they were working fell into the hands of whoever acquired them. And I just don't really recall who it was that got them offhand. I know I talked about it once before. What came first, Starhawks or Battle of the Planets?
Battle of the Planets. I believe so. G-Force. Hell yeah, that was another great. I'm not a big anime fan.
Mm-hmm.
Never have been, but when I saw that as a kid, I'm like, oh.
Nice.
Yeah, Bone. I don't recall.
Yeah, the Phoenix. Turning into the fiery Phoenix. Everybody had their own vehicle that detached from the plane, and it's like, man, that's just. It was cool as a kid. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Great ideas, man. Why can't we get stuff like that now?
Right.
Because what was the Japanese version? Ganjin or something like that.
I think so, yeah.
Something like that. I know it started with a G again.
Okay, so Bone, to answer your question about Netflix, I believe it will be on Netflix. So, 1986 animated TV series Silverhawks, a companion series to the Rankin Bass hit Thundercats, and the later series Tiger Sharks may be getting a revival and exclusive now. They've already know that they're getting it. So the Nacelle Company, which produces the Netflix nostalgia series The Movies That Made Us and The Toys That Made Us, has partnered with San Francisco toy and culture house Super 7 to reboot the show, and obviously the toy line as well, because that's what Super 7 is known for. Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, I would say more than likely it will wind up being on Netflix, but they do have a Warner Brothers tagline in here, so maybe not.
Well, yeah, Warner Brothers, they didn't know they had the rights to Thundercats and to Silverhawks. Like in the early 2000s, they found out. That's why DC started making comic books on the Thundercats, and like they extended the universe through them. Like they had Lionel, he was training for like a decade or something inside the Book of Omens, and he came out, and everyone else was older, and everything was changed since Lionel wasn't there. Like Mumra had taken over, and they had some some Thundercats were killed. It was insane. Wily Kit and Wily Cat, like the girl one, she became like almost like Princess Leia. She's like a slave to Mumra. Dude, it was insane. It was pretty cool. We brought them back, sort of.
Well, here's the thing. I see Jens. What's going on, Jens? Welcome, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised he didn't try to jump in. He usually does every single week. But, Bone, they're going to turn it into Silvermams. I am not 100% convinced of that, because the people that are working on the movies that made us and the toys that made us are doing a really phenomenal job of keeping it old school and sticking to the stuff that people loved about that time frame. And they're not really, from everything I've seen from the shows they've done, because they recently just put some new movies that made us out. They did Halloween, Friday the 13th, and the last one that I was getting ready to watch and I turned it off because I was up kind of late was Nightmare on Elm Street. And you know what? All the talking points in it were amazing. They didn't delve into any politics. They just talked about how great the movies are and all the people that worked on the movies. That's what they focus on. So if this is the people that they got that's going to work on the cartoon, I think there's a good chance that they're going to do it right.
Yeah, it sounds promising. So fingers are crossed. Yeah, because they need to do something good with those kind of franchises. Don't let them die out.
No, they could definitely bring them back. They're also doing the docuseries, The Center Seat, about the behind the stuff on the Star Trek series. Interesting. Unfortunately, nowadays it's about destroying the culture, not adding to it. That's why we don't get new concepts, but deconstructed remarks of our classic cartoons. And you know what? For the most part, yeah, that is true. DC made some very good Thundercat books. Yeah, before DC started in the direction that it'd been going lately. Truth, Justice, and A Better Tomorrow. Oh, Jesus. Don't even get me started on that nonsense.
I thought it was Truth, Justice, and the American Gays.
No, that's the Red Gays.
Yes, that's it.
Oh.
True Justice and the Red Gays. Curtis, you haven't really spoken much on this one. Did you remember this franchise?
Never seen it until you brought it. I looked it up quickly before and then watched your presentation. But yeah, I never even seen it. But all I can really say is, I can see exactly the art style of Thundercats, which I also never really watched, but just how much I've seen of that totally resembles this, very similar. And then I'm also just watching silently while listening and just watching the great animation on this Battle of the Planets intro.
Nice.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, that's really good especially for its time. But just like I love it, shows so much darkness and then it transitions to a brightness. But I love the darkness used to emphasize the brightness. It's things like that you just don't see. It's all bright, pretty colors. You never see cool things. In my opinion, I'm just not seeing it. Not seeing that magic that you used to get in quality nowadays.
Yeah.
There was definitely a certain love for the franchises back then by the people that were working on them. And I think that was one of the reasons I liked some of the earlier anime style shows that came over, because some of them came over originally from Japan, like Star Blazers, Voltron. They were originally all made in Japan.
Yeah.
And they brought them in and they had a different, unique perspective to them. Mm-hmm. It had a little bit of that light and the dark elements to them, but it also had a really good background story, something that you could get behind. And some of the newer franchises, they miss out on the mark. I still say that one of the closest ones as far as cartoons being rebooted and redone, and even though they changed it a bit, the one that came the closest to me was the Transformers series. I think they did really well with that, where there's some elements that they screwed up. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Every time you get a reboot, there's going to be something that's not right about it. But you know what? I will take their version of the IDW-ish Transformers.
Yeah.
Because they had enough of the old Sunbow and Marvel Comics mixed in with it that an older fan could recognize it.
Oh, for sure, man.
Unlike that trash they're doing on Disney with Star Wars, that Visions. I've had more than my fill of that.
Yeah, I tried to put it on the first episode. I couldn't get through it. It looked so bad. But no, to your point, yeah, Transformers. I think they did do it better than most of the other kind of reboot things, or if they try to revise it. At least I like 1 and 2 were really good. 3, you could see they dropped the ball a lot, but
yeah, they got sloppy.
Yeah, because they were trying to fit. Yeah, they were trying to fit in the Beast Wars stuff, which was a mistake. If you're going to do it and you want to do it right, then. But again, if they went to Earth and you'd be coming back to the G1 stuff, and that's why I was curious, how are they going to do it? I didn't like how they did it.
No, this is my thoughts on it. What they should have done is they should have waited until the very end. They should have had an Earthrise storyline where it was legitimately Earthrise, where they get the Earth vehicles and everything else. Mm-hmm. And at the very end of that, they could introduce the Beast like they started off the series with. So then they could have led into another series of just Beast Wars.
Mhm.
And they could have used the elements that they started the series with, but then they could have continued a whole nother series with the Beast Wars doing it that way. That would have been the smart way of doing it, because then they could have extended the production of those cartoons and
Yep.
possibly sales for the toy line as well.
Oh, I think so, because the toy line has been fantastic. Because you have your classic look to all these characters. Some of them a little bit updated, but for the most part, like they handle them really well. Why do you think you can't find them on shelves? Once they put them out there, people just snatch them up because it's what we wanted. When we were kids, we enjoyed all this stuff, and now it has like the better articulation, the better paint jobs, a good size to the figures, all that stuff, and collectors are just eating it up. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I'm really surprised that a lot of these toy companies didn't think about doing some of this stuff earlier. Like I said earlier, I know Hasbro started doing it in 2009 with the Transformers, at least. And why they didn't think about doing with some of the other franchises that they had licensing to? Why didn't Mattel think about this sooner? It just baffles me.
There's a lot of people that they just have their heads up their asses. I know, like Mattel, their whole thing is He-Man, and they wanted to just focus on He-Man. They tried so many times, they screwed up. They had elements that were pretty good in some shows, and they didn't know how to tie it all together the proper way. And they ended up pissing off fans and are kind of across the board. Then, like even with like the newest one, they made it all about Tila. Like we covered all that stuff already. My channel, we did it. Like we did a 4-hour stream about it. But what did they do? They screwed up so badly. Their game plan after the He-Man Revelations was supposed to be this brand new reboot entirely. Well, what did they do? They put it in between part 1 and part 2. Because the first one did so bad, they said, "Oh, screw it. Let's just drop the other one to see what the reaction was going to be." And I don't think it was well received either. A few people I know who saw it said there were elements that were kind of cool. They did their own fucking thing, but they destroyed a lot of things as well. So now what are they doing? They're dropping part 2 next month. Who cares? You know, they already buried it. It's done.
Yeah,
Well,
it's like seeing your ex-girlfriend who's just totally sort of got a bit ugly nowadays, and that's like, yeah, well, I don't want to see her again.
Yeah.
That's me with He-Man. I used to love He-Man, and they just totally made it into where, as most of us lot, I don't even want to look at it. Well, not the I watched the 80s ones more now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought for sure you were going to go to that'd be like coming home and seeing your girlfriend combing the woods looking for a tiny garden gnome Walton to jump on. That's much more frightening to me.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without talking about Walton, can you?
Yeah, he's always got it coming. I actually did a special thing for him. I may release it as a short video. I don't know. I don't know what the wife would think about that. But we were working on the. Remember me joking about the Walton candles? Like if you look on my channel,
Yes.
I've got a whole segment for Walton. It's called "Nuff Said," and basically it's like any of the enema commercials, the tree commercials, anything that I did. My way of promoting Walton is on that playlist. So one of the earliest ones I did was Walton's coffee and scented candles. And I told them over a year and a half ago that I was going to make those damn candles. I don't care how. I'm going to figure out a way and I'm going to make them. Well, I actually already made candles. I pretty much got the formula down now. And I lit one last night and my wife ran. And I lit it outside in the lanai. You know, it's like a screen in the lanai. So it's open to the air. I lit it out there and she was choking and gagging and ran in the house to get away from it.
Oh my god.
Tommy, you're nasty, man.
Hey,
That's
you
messed up.
Diabolical.
Well, here's
You could sell them as a rodent. Exterminator.
No. But here's the thing. I'd already acquired a promise from Walton that he would light one on a live stream when I send him one.
Beautiful. Don't give him a tip off. Just make sure he enjoys the aroma.
Yes, Mattel is losing He-Man. Yeah, die or fight. Well, yeah, there was something about. I know they were losing all the rights to the cartoons. I don't know if they were actually losing. I don't think they're losing the rights to make the toys. They're just losing the brand name and everything. Like, if they make toys, they've got to pay a certain amount to Universal or whoever it is that took control of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe as far as the franchise is concerned.
Yeah, I think they said the movie is dead and buried finally. I don't think they're touching it anymore because they had
Which one?
They were going to do Masters of the Universe like a movie, and it sounds they screwed it up anyway. There were like 3 scripts that were out there. Someone did a documentary on them, and one of them was absolutely mind-blowingly good. So fucking dark. It had everything you needed in it. How Prince Adam, how he becomes He-Man, how he kind of encounters like Cringer and everything, and how they tied in the Skeletor storyline and Eternia and the power of all that stuff. Like, it was truly amazing. And it looks like they went with yet a different script, something that was supposed to happen that just kept being put on the back burner and messed around. And then they pulled the trigger on something really bad. They got some little Disney kid who couldn't put on the weight. He couldn't muscle up. And then I think they just decided to scrap the movie entirely.
Kayate, you not subscribe to Vinny. He does not reach 1,000 subscribers. You're putos.
We got a member of the Bad Cotton Connection here. What's going on, Harold?
Is the greatest movie ever, Last Jedi.
Hey, right behind you. Is that Mexican Iron Man?
Oh, shit!
That was great. Yeah, please subscribe to my channel if you can. I'm very close to hitting 1,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah, make sure that you subscribe to Vinny. I'm pretty sure I have the link in the description.
Nice, man. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I always second guess myself because I don't remember if I put it in or not. And it was actually good to see Snowdub stop by for a minute. You know, hail Snowdub.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, buddy.
Great dude.
If you want to come back in, you're welcome.
Great impression too.
All right, guys.
Or actually, that wasn't an impression. That was real.
I'm about to dip out. I got one more live stream I got to go make an appearance on.
Nice, man. Dude, it was
Tommy,
great seeing you.
Yeah. Great seeing you too, Vinny, man. How's that book coming?
Really good. I'm working on it while we're talking. I'm finishing up a page. I'm getting ready to ink this one in.
Nice.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm on the last act of the book, so this is like all the action, all the really cool stuff. The build up for the issue and everything else that's going down. Yeah, this is the good stuff, man. The really juicy stuff.
Awesome. Awesome.
Kelly Chow, what's going on? Welcome.
Thanks, man.
Can't wait for it.
JJ, let everybody know where they can find you and what you got going on. I know we talked about the Wednesday random movie, but what else you got going
on? Well, you know, anybody knows me knows where to find me. Just walk outside, pick up a rock, you'll find me there. You know, I live under a rock. No, seriously. Mondays you find me here most of the time, and later on, here in a little bit, here in about 10 or 15 minutes, over on Darius Menchausen's channel for a random hangout by proxy. Tuesdays you'll find me over on Chaos Central, doing the Chaos list. Wednesdays I do a random movie review. This week we're doing 1982's Class of 1984. Never seen this movie, never heard of this movie, so I can't say I can't wait to see it because, you know, there are movies that I just don't like, but I'll check it out. You know, I'll give it my honest opinion. Let's see.
It definitely has a lot of things that correspond with today's events.
Okay. All right. So you've seen it?
Yeah, long time ago.
Okay. And you'll find me Fridays over on TWTG content or Chris's channel for Cosme Offends the Galaxy or Cards Against Humanity. As most people know it, you know, where we get talk a lot of shit and get away with it. And then Sundays you'll find me over on Chris Knight's channel for the weekly wrap up. And then later on that night on the Han Stars channel, me and Chris are doing Name That Tune tryouts. We're looking for new blood for Name That Tune. Come by and check it out. It's open panel. If you think you know music, if you think you're good with music, hit us up. We'll see what you can do. Also on Tuesday nights, my bad, I forgot, 11 p.m. Eastern, Han Star does his weekly live streams. We're going to be starting to Name That Tune back up here soon. But he also does a Jackbox game night and just a random hangout night. He calls it TGIF, even though he knows it's not Friday, but because of his days off, that's his Friday. But yeah, thanks for everybody showing up in the chat. Everybody on the panel, man, it's great to see everyone. Take care of yourselves and stay out of trouble.
Thanks for being here, JJ. Always appreciate it. You have a good one, buddy. Make sure you guys subscribe to JJ's channel. Make sure you come by Wednesday to check out that movie.
Hell yeah. Always great
Later,
seeing you, JJ.
All right, later, guys. Take care.
All right, take care, JJ. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Yeah,
Are you got to head out soon, or you got a few minutes?
yeah, I got to get going too because I need to scan in all this stuff, and then I got the ETEP stream. I'm gonna be jumping on in about a half hour. So,
Okay, all right. Yeah, well, let everybody know what's going on. Make sure you let them know about Shadow of the Kraken.
Yeah, guys, please keep subscribing and supporting my projects if you can. This is campaign number 6. I am one of the most trusted creators out there. I deliver time and time again. I am trying to finish up right now my newest project, Shadow of the Kraken. If you guys are into pirates and all that great stuff, this book is definitely going to be for you. It's got hot babes, it's got action, treasure, beautiful locations, great white sharks. You get everything you need out of this story. I think you guys are going to really dig it. I kind of show a little bit more of kind of like the historical aspects of what was happening in the Caribbean during that time. But then it goes into some really crazy places. I do have a supernatural twist in that story. Really, really awesome stuff. I can't wait for you guys to see it. Like one of the kind of the main items, and that's going to be through the span of the series is this skull that has a bunch of different treasure maps kind of carved into it, but it's also coded. So yeah, you'll find out like who is responsible for that, who it belongs to, all that great stuff. The main character goes through a lot of crazy shit too. That he starts off as being, part of the Royal Navy, and he becomes a pirate. You'll find out why and what he's been doing and how he's been kind of surviving and what his crew has been up to. Really great stuff. We got a really nasty villain in that book too, who's pursuing the main characters, and they're totally unaware of it up until a point. But yeah, it's going to be fun. And definitely please support my YouTube channel. Like I said before, I'm very close to hitting 1K on the subscribers, and I'm like I think I'm under 20 hours away for the watch hours. So I'm like right there. It'd be awesome if you guys could help out. I do toy reviews on there. I have live streams. I have art classes on my YouTube channel as well. And I've been doing like these time lapse, ink work on my current pages to kind of show people the progress of the book as well. And yeah, I'm doing everything on that project too, by the way. So it's been taking some time, but you will get it in early 2022. I can tell you that right now because I am working on like the last part of the last act of the book. So hell yeah, man. And thank you. Support everyone on this panel. Everyone in chat, you guys rock. If you got some time in a little while, please head on over to ETEP's channel as well, the place to be reviews. And yeah, we're going to have some fun over there as well. Tommy, everyone here, you guys rock. Please
appreciate it, Vinny. Thank you for coming on. And just to reiterate, I mean, if any of you guys are wondering about Vinny's work, I can actually testify. He's got some of the books that are already on demand. I actually picked up Through the Woods, and holy crap, did I get that extremely fast from the moment I ordered to the moment it arrived at my door, and it was in perfect shape, and I read through it a few times because it was such a damn good read. So make sure you guys check it out. I've got Shadow of the Kraken already listed in the chat as well as with Vinny's channel. If you could sub to him, if you aren't already, man, we would greatly appreciate it. Let's get Vinny to that 1,000 mark. And if you're going to stop by ETEP's channel, make sure you drop the hashtag guinea pig raid. Let ETEP know that we're coming by, showing them some support. Thank you
Hell
for
yeah,
coming
man.
on, Vinny. I truly do appreciate it, man.
Dude, always a pleasure, my friend. And yeah, just like Tommy said, Through the Woods, that's a hardcover book. Once those are gone, they're gone for good. I'm not going back to print on a hardcover book. So snatch it up while you can. It's 100 pages. It's an entire contained story in there, beginning, middle, end. I think you guys are going to love it. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, the sequel to City of Venus will be coming right after the Pirate Story for those who actually back that one as well. And that book is still available too for, again, a short amount of time. It's not going to be there forever, but you can still snatch it up. Guys, thank you so much. Please have a great night, everyone.
All right, you take care, Vinny.
Later.
Awesome. So I think we probably talked about everything that we were going to talk about as far as Silverhawks is concerned. Anybody else have anything that they want to chime in about it?
But I don't really know much because I put in the comment because I've been watching in that, but I think it was one of them like ones that, like as you said, it was like saturated with He-Man, Thundercats,
G.I. Joe, Transformers, GoBots. I mean, yeah, there were so many different franchises all out at the same time. It was kind of hard for a newer franchise to actually get a foothold.
Yeah. And so, like, I don't think, like, it might have been over here, the cartoon, but it was one of them where I don't remember it. And so I'm thinking if it did get shown, it might have been 1 or 2 episodes, but because I can't remember it, I'm thinking it probably didn't get shown up over in the UK. It could have been one of them where there's like, yeah, we've got, like, as I say, Transformers, Thundercats, He-Man, Mask, and that, like, we can't, the market's not big enough for, another one, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of the thing. I mean, you know, the problem is with a lot of the, especially the toy market, there's only room for so many top toy franchises. I mean, granted, you could have as many toy franchises as you want. Unfortunately, other ones are just not going to receive the attention because the other ones are going to be the popular ones that are going to get the airtime on TV. They're the ones that are going to get the big, long, extended comic book series. They're the ones that are going to get all the ads in the papers. At least, at the time, when it was ads in the papers. And like, even like ads as far as online ads, it's going to be the more popular ones that are going to get front and center in those ads, even online when you're getting those clipless coupons and everything. So it's the same thing today. I mean, yeah, the media is slightly changed, but it's pretty much still the same formula.
Yeah. It is one of them where with Britain and all, the UK, there was like British cartoons and that, and so there was only so much, like, yeah, they could show, so because like, yeah, they didn't have like it on like they do now, where you got like a channel dedicated to it. Back in the day, in the 80s, it was like between like R3 till about R5. They'd show cartoons and kids stuff, and then R5 to 6, it'd be like the news, and then it'd be adult programs.
Soul Assassin, you know what? I've seen Tiger Sharks mentioned a few times. So what I'll probably do is the very first talking toys that I come back with, I'll make sure I make that about Tiger Sharks. I'm not sure how long of a segment it'll be because I don't really recall offhand how long Tiger Sharks ran for, but 45 likes on the stream, awesome.
Thanks again, Bone, and awesome icon, Soul Assassin, Beavis.
Yeah, man. RR, I think it's time for Thunder Guinea Pigs Collective Cartoon or Silver Guinea Pigs Collective Series. The Eye of the Guinea Pig Collective embedded in the mystic sword of assimilation. That's like some ancient one level writing right there, RR. That is awesome. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But So the last topic that I actually wanted to talk about for tonight is I don't know how long we're going to wind up spending on it, but I want to talk about this little guy, and I got a small clip to play so you know exactly what we're going to be talking about. Yeah, that's
Nice.
right. 1978's Halloween, written and directed by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, and of course,
Scored by John Carpenter.
yes, scored by him because he did a lot of his own score, and he did the same thing on Escape from New York. He created his own music for that as well. So, oh man, I remember this one when it first came out. It just like Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th. I actually seen that in the theaters, and I was good through most of that movie until the very end when Jason popped out of the water. Because as a younger child, that freaked me out. I was not expecting that. Like, it was all calm, it was serene, and boom. Halloween ended with, okay, where did he go? It wasn't quite as scary, but it definitely, like, wow, that's a good cliffhanger.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. I mean, I'm talking, I was like probably 7 at the most, maybe younger. Maybe 8, I don't know, but pretty young, and it was a good one. I remember that score is probably the most standout thing for me, just because that was what made it so scary. That music.
Well, originally when they were writing the script for that, and Michael Myers didn't even have a name initially. He was just listed as the Shape, so he was supposed to be like almost a very generic boogeyman, so to speak. As a matter of fact, when they sent the guy who was working on costumes and everything now to pick a mask, they said, get something very ordinary and very plain, something that doesn't really stand out. And he said he was going through these different like masks. He found like a clown mask that he picked up, and then he saw like a Spock mask, and then he finally landed on the William Shatner mask. And he said it looks so plain and it looks so boring that he brought that back, and then he spray painted it white and he spray painted the hair brown because the hair was a lot lighter of a color. Yeah, he spray painted the hair and everything. And that's what they wound up going with. And that was like, he said that was the perfect look for who they were describing as the Shape.
Shatner's face?
Yeah, that's a William Shatner.
William Shatner's in the film, essentially.
Essentially, yeah.
In a weird way. That's funny.
Who knew? Who knew?
Yeah.
He was, yeah, we knew how tough he was from Star Trek. We didn't know that he was going to kill babysitters. And that was another thing about this movie. The original plot and idea of the movie was just a guy who's out murdering babysitters.
Huh. Oh, wow.
The whole story element with him chasing after Lori, that was something that came a little bit afterwards.
It makes sense to me because it plays into the idea of this killer is very sadistic. He only goes after this type of person, which is very like taboo to be killing somebody like that,
Yeah.
Obviously. But
what's up, Decepticon King? Welcome. Yeah, clown mask belong on Kenny. Always dropping the KK jokes. But no, yeah, it was a William Shatner mask that they used, and they, it was just like the original scene when they did with the kid. Originally, he really wasn't really planning on extending it quite that far, but they got into it, and the scene just ran, and they actually wound up taking that as one long continuous take. And they filmed that actually towards the end of the movie. So the very beginning of the movie is actually filmed at the end of production. And the guy who plays Michael Myers, he was just the guy that was originally hanging around the set. Like, he's like, oh, I just want to hang around the set. Like, he just wanted to be there. And
like
they were like, yeah, they were like, this guy is just his look, and he would be, let's put him in the mask. He's going to be here anyway. Let's put him in the mask and put him in the outfit. And that's how he became Michael Myers. Yeah, and Donald Pleasance. Yep. He was like the big name actor that they got.
Wow.
Yeah, Blofeld. Because it was real mad that Blofeld, spoilers, but Blofeld takes out Jason in the end. Like, whoa.
I'm not sure if I watched Jason first or Halloween first. Because H2O is a Halloween movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because H2O was coming out, and that's what kind of got me into horror. And people were watching Scream. I'm not even sure if I watched Scream first or Scary Movie first. But, yeah, I remember I watched Halloween, and I always liked Jason a little bit more. So that's why I never really gravitated to it. But that music, and I just remember the first time I watched it, it was effective. It scared me, and I think I was immediately comparing it to Jason, though. So that's kind of my impression right now.
Bone says, spoiler alert. Thanks, Jens.
Well, I said it though, didn't I? Because I don't want people to give me oh, you spoiled that film for me. I'll give you a spoiler alert.
But that was one of the things I do. I like the Friday the 13th series more than Halloween, but I liked Halloween for exactly what it was. Mm-hmm. I didn't like Friday the 13th by saying, oh, I think Jason killed people better. No, they were two distinctly different characters. Yeah, they were both.
It's funny, yeah, that they really are, even though they're so similar, but they really are two different things.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Michael originally. I mean, granted, John Carpenter has since come out and said anything after the first movie doesn't matter. And when he did that movie a few years back, was that 2018? He said this picks up after part one.
I didn't see any of the new ones. I think I saw H2O a long time ago, though. But I can't remember it.
But it's kind of one of those things regardless. I mean, there was a lot of instances of Michael actually getting put down pretty easily. A lot more easy than Jason did later on. But then again, if you look at early Jason would get hit and get knocked down pretty easy too. And over time, I'm assuming as each time he dies and he comes back, he becomes stronger. And it's kind of the same thing with Michael Myers. Because, I mean, like after part 4, like you assumed that he was dead. And he's sitting there being nursed back to health by part 5 by some guy like Hermit.
His mask is kind of scarier in a way, though, than Jason's. I kind of flip-flop back and forth on that, It's hard to say. But I really like that generic look like you're talking about. It has a strong presence that it is so everyday in a way.
Yeah. Well, if you looked at early Jason had a sackcloth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a potato sack or something over his head. What were you going to say, Jens?
No, I was going to say, yeah, it's one of where Jason and Michael, yeah, because I got mixed up. Because I'm already much into me hours of that, but yeah, but it is one of them where it looks freaky and that sort of like when there's blood and all that, but when they're in it doesn't look it looks a bit like but yeah, the machete though is a big giveaway in it usually with the blood, but yeah, as for like eerie sort of like music, and he's got like that sort of a Frankenstein sort of approach where he's just like cold and sort of like slow, but he's gonna be doing the job sort of thing. So
well, that was the thing with a lot of those guys, like like Jason. Even some of the ones that came later on to a small degree, like the Creeper, even Pinhead a bit. They were a bit of those plotting type of monsters. I think Freddy is the only one that kind of broke that mold.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. That Freddy was kind of the one that stood out in that time. That's probably why so many people liked it too. I didn't like it for a long time because of that.
Well, I think a lot of people there was a lot of people also liked it because of the comedy aspect that Freddy brought to it.
Yeah,
I didn't like Freddy until Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah, but I didn't really like much of it. But as you say, with Freddy Krueger, it was a bit more of a comedy element where they try to do like a funny sort of kiddie killer, which is like quite sort of a crazy idea. But I think his glove and all and that, but yeah.
No, it was definitely a unique character. But I mean, I think that's one of the things that's pretty telling about characters like Michael Myers and Jason. On the surface, if you look at them, other than Michael Myers' mask or Jason's hockey mask that he got in part 3, beyond those, what really stands out about those characters? They're big and tall and they move very slow. I mean, that doesn't necessarily stand out all that much if you're looking at the character from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that presence. It's the presence that they have, the evil presence. You know that they portray. That I think that's one of the things that make them stand out, along with the masks.
Yeah, the death scenes and all were pretty good. There was like gory, top gore for its day. Still is now, you know.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I think,
it still is top notch. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, it had a pretty good soundtrack, and that was one of the things too. Is if you look at Jason started off with a pitchfork, and then of course he gravitated towards a machete, and then you look at Michael Myers. Michael Myers always using that classic kitchen knife.
I was gonna say, it was kind of like a knife.
Like in and of itself, somebody's coming at you with a knife like that. Not an ideal situation, but probably not the most terrifying thing in the world. I mean, if you think about Leatherface coming at you with a chainsaw, that's a little bit harder to try to avoid.
Yeah, I know the bit in the cupboard where what's her name? But she's hiding in the cupboard, and like Michael, he's like just looking and that, and it's one of them where he's having fun, so I don't want to do a quick kill and that. But like, there's a bit where I think he has enough time to like electrocute him with a lamp, I think, or does somewhat where but. Michael Myers and like just the one of them where like Andre the Giant and that they don't care if they get hit because they don't really feel much pain unless it's real severe, and even then they're like a bit crazy and that. So
no, absolutely. Curtis, did you have anything else that you want to add on to that?
Oh, I was gonna say that. Well, the only thing about I loved the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I started off with like the 2001 one, I think, with Arlie Ermy. That one was freaky, and I started to watch some of the originals, and I saw the one with what's his name, frickin' McConaughey.
Okay.
He's in like the second one. I kind of stopped there, but I have to disagree with you. The chainsaw it was effective and it was always scary, but in reality, you can just outrun him because he's running with a chainsaw. That thing is gonna be heavy, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a real person, so they must have, or at least it's based off of something that happened.
From everything I read about it, there's actually a few movie franchises that are all based off of one event. So you have Psycho, you have Silence of the Lambs, and you actually have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, are all based off the killer Ed Gein. He was killing people. He actually had one lady that he had strung up in his barn, He pretty much gutted her like a deer.
That's crazy.
He took parts of their bodies and he made bodysuits, apparently. He was also digging up graves, taking people out, incorporating bodysuits. Some of the people apparently was eaten because they found when they finally raided his house and they figured out it was him that was killing people. But they found the heart in the saucepan in his kitchen. They found lamps that were made with skin, bowls that were made out of human heads. Yeah, there was a whole bunch of shit. If you ever want to hear about some legitimate creepy shit, look up Ed Gein. Gein.
You got to be in the mood for that.
They did have like a little mini movie about him, I think, or like a documentary type of thing. Yeah, he was a sicko, and that's where they based a lot of those movies on.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Zodiac too. They based a whole bunch of movies. Didn't they make a few Zodiac movies?
Well, yeah, and I think 7 and all. I think that was sort of like loosely based on him.
God, yeah, it's funny how people fascinated on it. I guess makes sense to me because they're just crazy. It's fascinating, but still crazy.
Oh, well, it's one of them where truth is stranger than fiction because most of these stuff, they like to say, oh yeah. Some of it.
If you were to look up a picture of Ed Gein, he's this older looking guy, very gaunt, like Elmer Fudd-ish looking hat. Like he's not even somebody you would suspect of doing something like that. And nobody in the town did it first, and that's why he kind of got away with it for a while.
Yeah.
What's his name? Ed Gein?
Gein. Gein.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't really suspect him. He looks like, oh hey, kind of
just
guy,
like an unassuming older man. Yeah,
you would never think that he is, but at the same time, you look at his eyes, kind of has a twinge of like, I'll kill you.
What like kind of like those whack jobs for freaking TikTok that we see on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Just look at the TikTok eyes. You know there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, dead shark eyes. They're like just.
Yeah, he's got kind of dead eyes when you look at it. But you first look at him, he kind of looks really unassuming. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, well,
sorry, I gotta take this call real quick.
All right, no problem.
I would say they don't always do, but most of them will get that persona that they make, so people don't expect them.
No, absolutely not. And, yeah, Captain Robert April. I don't think I've ever watched that movie. I remember it was out, and I never had a chance to watch it. But I know they did that movie about Alfred Hitchcock. So the movie Hitchcock mentions Gein because it's about the making of Psycho. Yeah. And Chaos Hoy poses the question: how many Calamity Kennedys does it take to fix a light bulb? Answer: none. They're too stupid. They keep breaking the bulb. Yeah, but again, and I think that was part of the reason why it worked so well in Psycho, like taking the same elements of Gein, like a very unassuming, gaunt-looking character. And as far as the skin wearing, which they incorporated into Silence of the Lambs, so instead of doing skin, he was just wearing his mother's outfits in Psycho.
Yeah, because back in them days, it was shocking that they were showing blood and it was only blood going down the sinkhole, I think. But in them days, it was like, whoa, this is gratuitous violence, yeah.
No, but now going back to Halloween real quick. I don't even originally Carpenter wasn't even really planning on continuing it, but it did so well, like budget wise, it did incredibly well. They had, I want to say it was like a $300,000 budget, and they wound up making, God, what was it? Like they made like somewhere in between 30 to 50 million, I think it was.
Yeah. So some big profits because it did start that sort of craze of the slasher sort of movies sort of scene where you could get some low budget sort of like film got going, but as long as you had like a lot of teenage party goers getting hacked up on it'd sell.
Okay, here it is. So they're saying the budget was 300,000, and I guess they're giving room for promotional, which there wasn't a whole lot of promotional at first. I'll explain that in a minute. They're saying up to $325,000 to make the movie. Now, I was watching the interview thing with John Carpenter and the guy that was the producer on it, and he said $300,000 was their budget. And the box office was 60 to 70 million.
Yeah, what a profit.
I mean, just think about that turnout. 300,000 and then a box office of 60 to 70 million. Those are amazing numbers. And one thing to actually take away from that too, and why that's so important to how well that movie did, when they first wanted to get that movie out, nobody wanted to actually put that movie out in the theaters. What's going on, Snow Dub?
Hell, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you fine.
Sorry about El Perro there. I left my phone open. I guess he got a hold of it. My bad.
No, all good. I like Perro. I mean, he's a little bit much to handle sometimes, but I don't mind him. I just got to remind him that Mexican Iron Man's right behind him.
Right. Yeah, he's got an attitude, ever since he lost that eyeball and had to have the Google eye replaced. He's just been real ornery lately. So I apologize.
No problem. The studio forced Carpenter to make a sequel. He didn't. Yeah, I don't think. For everything I remember, he didn't have any interest in doing it. And that was one of the things I was going to say real quick. Is when he first went to get this movie out there, nobody wanted to screen it at first. They finally found one theater chain that was willing to put the movie in, and it did so well. That's when it started opening the doorway up to all the other theater houses, and then they were able to actually get that movie out there, and then. That's when they made tons of money.
Yeah.
Did you want to weigh in on us now?
No, I was in mid-conversation when I cut in here. You were talking about Ed Gein, and then I went backstage, so I'm kind of off a little.
We kind of went in a direction where we were talking about some of the other horror movies and what they did, and we were talking about no problem, Curtis. We were talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I said. Curtis or somebody in the chat, or did Curtis say it? I think Curtis said it, that it was like loosely based on a real event, and what it was actually based on was Ed Gein.
That's Ed correct, Gein, actually. Multiple movies.
Psycho, Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs. Yep.
So, I was gonna say I would suspect Psycho too.
Ed Gein was he was more disturbing than a lot of people understand. It was all because of his mother. She abused the hell out of him. For even thinking sexual type things. And after she died, his psychological beatdown from her was so immense that he didn't know what to do without her. So he literally dug her back up and created a skin suit. He also dug up other bodies. He had a belt made out of nipples. He had other stuff made out of genitalia. He had a lampshade made out of human skin. Wow. So all this stuff
I was also talking about the bowls. The bowls where they were the human skulls that he cut in half, and when they raided his house, they found the heart in the saucepan.
Is this the same guy that was turned into stuff when he died?
Turned into stuff.
Yeah, there's this one guy that I learned about that was actually turned into like a wallet. Like he said, "I want to be made to take my skin."
I don't think so. Not Ed.
Somebody did it.
Not him. I know his. I think they killed him, and then the townspeople wanted to erase anything about him, so they burned down his house and barn.
Yep, they burned it down, burned down any evidence that was in there still. Yeah, so there's nothing left except photos from that thing, and it was very disturbing because it was a small town in Wisconsin, I believe. So it was just and the way he got caught was he actually murdered a woman that worked at a hardware store and tried dragging her body home. That's when he went over the line, because at first he was fine with just digging up dead bodies, but Then he wanted to start getting some real life ones, and he took it to the next level. And that's
Well,
how he
they
got
were
caught.
saying they thought he killed a couple people, but yeah, she was the one they actually found in his barn. He had strung up like a deer. He had her all gutted.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. What's going on? Welcome.
Yeah, Ed Gein is one of the best real life, murder or horror story or whatever that so many people have taken as inspiration. I'm sure there's probably 1,000 directors out there that have horror movie directors that have used some kind of inspiration from Ed Gein. His whole story is just so disturbing.
Wookie mentions this. I really don't recall that. Well, was that the first movie? Captain Spaulding's Murder Ride?
Yes, he talks about him in his Murder Ride. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a book on him, and like I was talking about, I know there was like a special. I can't remember if it was like a full-blown movie or if it was like a documentary type of movie.
I think I have documentaries. Like I think I got like a most wanted documentary or something that kind of covers like the top 10 most famous serial killers. It's all your normal ones like Ted Bundy and stuff like that. I hate to say it, but a lot of serial killers came from my neck of the woods where I grew up. Ted Bundy, Evergreen Killer. Everybody's gone through the Green Nile killer or whatever. There's been a lot of them that's gone through Washington State. I wonder why.
Guard your cotton. Guard your cotton.
Yeah, well, nowadays, if you look at most of the people that live there, it's not too hard to believe anymore. Why there's so many weirdos come out of that state.
I know. I see him on Twitter all the time.
Yeah. And I'm weird too, but I didn't get that weird, But the rain does something to you, I think. That's why I got out of there.
I think it's people being dropped on their heads a little bit too much, honestly. Yeah, why do liberal hotspots create the most charismatic serial killers? Good question.
How about
that? Ed Gein wasn't very charismatic, though.
It's liberal law, isn't it? That's why you would get the best psycho killers, because it's all like, well...
They can't take it anymore?
Yeah, well, no, you get some welfare officer or something. Well, he had an hard life. He chopped them women up, but he's sorry now.
Ed Gein was definitely mental. Yeah, he was mentally messed up.
Mm.
Oh, it sounds like one of the puppies is upset.
Oh, Perro again! God damn it! Bad dog.
Gacy was charismatic, yes. To a certain degree, so was Ted Bundy, because he had a lot of people fooled at first too.
Oh, Ted Bundy was a ladies' man. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that he was a good-looking, debonair, and very charismatic. He was very good at talking to women, and he had women in love with him even after they discovered what he did, and he was in jail. I think he even had one that married him while he was in jail. I mean, this guy was something else.
But you have them crazy birds, even if they're not good looking, but just because they're a serial killer, it's like that female fantasy of changing the bad man into good, and so they go for it. Some of them was being killed because when they got out, they've like took them in, and then they're being killed. It's like crazy.
Well, I think a certain degree it might be that, but I think it's also just the bad boy image.
Yeah. Because
I'm not.
I always think like these women who like want to marry these serial killers. If you saw them in that and ask them out on a date or whatever, they probably would be like, "Oh no."
I've said it on dates, and I got a giggle.
Yeah, I don't go to the pub or whatever, and then she's marrying a serial killer. What?
Honey, I married an axe murderer. For real. Snow, you got a question from the Sentinel there?
I'm not sure who Jodi Arias is. I'll have to look her up again. The name sounds familiar. But if she's from Tucson, then yeah, that's the liberal hotspot here. I actually live in Tucson. It's a very democratic city, and I fucking I hate it. But sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. But that grinds my gears even thinking about that stuff.
Let it fly.
Let it fly. Okay, that's right. You ain't monetized yet.
Guinea pigs don't give a fuck.
No, I do have a great story about Ted Bundy. Personal story. I went up there to Seattle while I was doing these fundraiser charity events where I was going up every home game for the Seahawks, and I was putting on, there was these shows and rallies and stuff, and I would go and perform the song at the time. Anyway, there was this one one night we went to this club after it was like an after party thing, me and a few friends, and just an old rundown spot in downtown Seattle, and it's called I want to say it was called the Inferno, but I may be off on that, which is kind of ironic too. But it was one of Ted Bundy's favorite spots to go hang out and prey on women. Right, he had pulled a few from that particular bar, and there was, it was so old it had like names written on the tables and stuff, and there was a rumor that Ted had written his name in there, and there was a Ted on the wall, and everybody said that was his name, and I wasn't sure. A lot of people said it was bullshit, but long story short, after we partied that night, I went home and I actually hopped on the plane, and I get a text as soon as I get off the plane saying the whole place burned down. And I was like, holy shit, what happened last night? And everybody was like, well, I guess, because they ended up playing my music over the loudspeakers of the bar while we were in there having our after party. They said my music was such fire that it burned it down. And I was like, I think it was just bad omens, from us talking about Ted Bundy too much. The place finally went up in flames. Crazy story.
Maybe the spirits that were in that bar from Ted Bundy visiting heard tuck and roll and decided, yeah, we're going to tuck and roll this old bar.
Yep, I think so.
Sentinel, I was giggling about that one. We need more female representation in serial killing. No, actually, there are actually quite a few women that kill a bunch of people. You just don't hear about it usually.
No, because that film, that monster played by Sharon Savon or whatever her name was, which you put on quite a bit of weight to play her.
Yeah, there was another one, a nurse, I remember that had a lot of kills from just going in and taking people out. They were like in ICU and stuff.
Yeah. In fact, there's a lot of female killers, but the nurses in that, and they usually kill the patients by injecting them with something and
right.
Faking and so it's not all that shocking, because most people think they just died of old age or whatever, but then you find out, oh no, because one nurse, they got suspicious because it was happening every month or something, and on average you might have one or two a year or something, and they was having it once every month, and they got caught.
I think she killed hundreds, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember her name, but yeah.
Most of those guys, what did they rack up? Like a few dozen, mostly.
Right.
In the there was a doctor and all that was doing it, where they get up into, because half of the figures, because the medical and that, they get away with saying, oh yeah, it was heart attack or lung disease or whatever, and it's not until the numbers get a bit strange where it's like, oh, you're having too many deaths and that, and they get looked into, and then they get found out, oh yeah, and so they get well up into the half figures, at least 20 or 30 or something.
Robert, we were talking about charismatic earlier. Yeah, Robert Bundy defended himself in court, and it just said it was a shame he did all this shit. He would have liked seeing him as a lawyer.
But Erin Hall, who played Monster, I think she shot about 5 or 6 people because she claimed it was self-defense for the first two or whatever, and then because she was acting like a prostitute, and then getting dudes to drive it, and then when there was a wait, she should shoot them. And for the first two, she claimed that they were going to rape her or something, and then after it, because and all in the film, they claim that they're supposed to be like these like arsehole, like fucking nasty sort of douchebags and that. So the cops ain't too bothered that she kills them, but then she starts killing like just normal dudes who just wanted a prostitute. And yeah, good film. As in, like, if you like that sort of stories.
Frankie knows what's going on. Frankie knows says the Night Stalker was the most dangerous. He had no type: men, women, kids, any race.
Was that? I think that's the one that went rampant in Los Angeles, and that one was pretty scary. That was the one that was going in and actually like raping the women and killing the men and killing kids, and he was messed up. And they took a long time to catch him. I remember he even went up to San Francisco and killed people up there too, just to try and throw him off his scent, you know. And they kept getting so close to getting him, and
I forget now. Did they try to pin that actress on him too?
No. That I think Charles Manson is the only one that they got pinned with an actress.
Because you had that one, the Black Dahlia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't remember on that one, but I think the Night Stalker. I do know that the Night Stalker. I can't remember if he like attacked a cop's wife or maybe it was right next door to a cop's house or something. But I mean, he was just daring. Like he would just. This was back in the late 70s and early 80s. People were just leaving their front doors open still and love it, thinking their neighbors were cool and everything. And this guy was literally just walking into houses and doing whatever he wanted to do.
You know what the funny thing is? There's still people, and I know it through like extended family, where they still leave their front doors unlocked all day. Like really? Like no, I'm down here. I'm where I'm at in Florida. I'm surrounded by woods. I got one neighbor across the road. And there's no other neighbors on my block or the block behind me. It's all empty. It's just all woods around me for the most part. I mean, there's roadways and everything like that. And you go a few streets over, there's some houses, but I don't even leave my door unlocked sitting here.
99% of break-ins do not happen if you have a dog at home. So there is something to be said for having some home protection when you're not around or while you're sleeping. And burglar alarms, those can be bypassed, but a dog can't. A dog's going to smell or hear you no matter what. So, and I breed Dobermans myself, and I got robbed once, and the very next day I bought a Doberman, and I never got robbed again.
I got a nice little 32 sitting right where I can get to it.
The dogs warned me to get the 32. That's what the dogs tell me to do. Yeah,
I don't have to worry about that. So I got the guinea pigs. If they send somebody else around, they're thinking they're going to get food, and they start squeaking.
Well, that works too. Exactly. Whatever wakes you up makes you get that gun.
Stephanie says, by the way, there was a Netflix original movie on Ted Bundy called Extremely Twisted, Shockingly Evil and Vile, starring Zac Efron as Bundy. I know my wife.
I want to see that. I haven't watched that, but I heard it was good.
And Soul Assassin said there's one in Jamaica, Whitehall Witch. Johnny Cash made a song about her.
Yeah, there's been plenty of serial killer women. They don't get as much notoriety because the men serial killers tend to be more brutal and violent.
Yeah. Because as I was saying, like they do it more slowly and that, and so some like where women and all get the married a man and that, and then they'll slowly poison them, and then get them, then marry another dude, slowly poison them, and then by the time they're on the third fucking husband, that's when people are thinking, hey up, how come all our husbands are dying fucking after 2 years of marrying her? And so it is one of them where
after the second one, I would marry her, that's for sure. You think you'd figure it out.
She's got money back then and that, and so she's she's making it like look like she's there's quite a few of them, but as you say, it's like car crashes. Women crash more, but it's like less severe in that, so their insurance is lower. Where men crash less, but when they do crash, it's a big fucking total write-off and that, and so
the most. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Snow. Go ahead.
I was going to say the most famous one from where I'm from was the Nile Killer, Green Nile Killer, I believe was what his name was, and that guy. This was late 70s, early 80s again, but I'm pretty sure I can't remember the exact body count, but it was definitely over 50, maybe 100. But his thing was going after prostitutes. He took out prostitutes like they were nothing.
Oh yeah,
Very much akin to Jack, which they claim came to America because right around the same time that the killings stopped in London, all of a sudden we had similar killings here in America.
Oh yeah.
I was watching this one special about it though, and I found this very interesting. They were saying there was a guy, somehow he escaped from a mental asylum over there in London, and he had killed his wife because he thought I don't remember if the story was she cheated on him or whatever it was, but he was mentally deranged, and the guy apparently worked on furniture and everything like that. So they said that he was like one of those reupholsterers back in the time that had one of those big cutting knives. And they said that would be very similar to something Jack could have used because not all the cuts were precision like they claim. If somebody knew a little bit about anatomy, but they said some of the stuff was very sloppily done. They were saying it possibly could have been him because right around the time when all the killings completely stop, he shows back up at the asylum and turns himself in.
Yeah. Because they were saying like, whoever Jack the Ripper was, he had a little bit of medical experience or wanted medical experience, and that's why he was cutting these prostitutes up to get fucking his medical experience going.
I think it was that cop guy, didn't they? Did you see that one where they think that it's possible it was one of the cops?
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, it could be, but that's the thing with Jack the Ripper. No, he was never caught, was he? So it's like,
He was never caught.
Speculation, innit? Yeah. But thing he was caught, the Yorkshire Ripper, where he had like a problem with prostitutes because his mum, like whatever, I don't know. So and like he was going around like hammering. Like kicking them with a hammer, just smacking them in the head with a hammer and that.
It's funny how we started off talking about Halloween and we delved into actual real murderers and killers.
That's what all these films are like from, aren't they? Real life, because the skin, sort of where they're cutting off the skin, apparently, like. A tribe, in like mid Victorian century or whatever, do kill people and that, and whoever they kill, they get their skin and put it over a drum, and so then they like beat the drum on like the enemy's sort of skin, which was sort of like their like war sort of cry or war sort of like, look what we're going to do to you if you're going to mess with us.
I seen a couple other comments in here. Snow, so I don't know if you want to weigh in on something like some of these. So they're talking about there was a serial rapist in Washington State.
Oh yeah, there's been all kinds in Washington State. Like I said, we're a pretty famous state for growing some real whack jobs. So yeah, nothing surprises me from that state anymore. The good news is, I guess, these days you don't see serial killers as often because the forensics has gotten so good. Yeah. It's harder to pull off multiple kills anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you do it all at once. Yeah. Which the last technical serial killer was the guy who shot up the country concert in Vegas. That was like the last real serial killer.
I think that's one of the things we definitely see, though, Snow, is when times get really rough for everybody, that's when serial killers tend to show up.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yep.
And
So, I mean, it's kind of like,
Wow, that's
it's
crazy.
kind of foretelling, thinking about like everything we're going through right now. Are we going to wind up seeing another whack job out there? Soul Assassin is the angel of death, and nerd that killed baby. Yeah, there was also a guy that they were calling him Dr. Death because he was euthanizing people, but they were asking for it. And one last one right here. Soul Assassin, says, I thought Jack the Ripper was H.H. Holmes. Dude had a murder hotel made in the early 1900s. That was another one. They've had a lot of people they suspected, but they've never been able to prove it. Every one of the it's kind of like watching the Bigfoot shows. They have all kinds of speculation, but they never even come close to a real answer.
Yeah, that's why I think it was the cop, because there was a lot of evidence that suggested it, but it still could be wrong. But yeah. Well, I think a lot of those theories are just like, they're basically clickbait, though.
I think it was the Night Stalker. It may have been another one, but one of the California killers. I remember he didn't get caught for like 30 years. Like he just stopped doing it suddenly back in the early 80s or something. And for like 20, 30 years went by and he never got caught. And then finally a neighbor got wind of like a photo that went around or something from an FBI thing. But yeah, so they can still be caught years later, but the Zodiac Killer still got free. A lot of these guys, like the Zodiac Killer, is probably dead by now because of how long ago it was. Same with Jack the Ripper. He's probably dead by now. So these guys,
I hope so. Not unless it's vampires.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Critically sort of enhanced to live longer.
Right? Yeah. The thing is some of these guys will never know, because if they died, then they died with their secrets, and we'll just never find out. Unless they figure out some kind of crazy way to go back and look at the past and some kind of cool technology like that, like Minority Report or something.
Well, I think that's one of the things, though. I mean, even if they figure out who it is, the question of why did they use it, why did they do it, and getting into the mind of the psychological killer, getting into their mind and why they did it is more the answers that people want than who did it.
Right. Yeah, that's why they interviewed Manson so much after he got locked up, and he didn't even actually kill anybody.
Yeah.
Well, they said that he might have. Like,
he might have,
sure
right?
He might have.
But once again, they're speculating. They don't know.
Mm-hmm. Nothing they could prove anyway.
No. Go ahead, Curtis.
I forgot. It'll come to me in a second.
I was just
Frankie,
yeah.
Hold on, one sec, Jens. Frankie said, "Did you guys hear Blondie Debbie Harry turned down a ride from Ted Bundy? She said it in an interview somewhere. He gave her the creeps."
Yeah, it does sound like right though, because we could have never had fucking Heart of Glass. Oh, we could have, but it would have been sung by the Dudes, which wouldn't have sounded as good, I don't think.
My mom used to hang out at a lake that he was at, picking up chicks all the time. She never ran across him personally, but that's how close to home it was for me. And she was around that age too, where he would have picked her up. Yeah, she was a teenager back then, so yeah.
So this could be folklore, but I remember hearing, I think it was just some kid that's what I mean. It could just be something that he trying to scare me or whatever. But I remember hearing that this kid, lives his whole life or whatever, and his dad finally is about to die, and right before he dies, he told his son that he was the Zodiac Killer, and he said all the evidence is in the closet, and the kid, I don't know if this is true or if any of you have heard this. That's why I'm saying it.
I did hear that one. There was a documentary series on it.
Okay,
right?
So there's possibly truth to that.
Yeah, because he was much older by the time he came out and started talking about it, because he figured enough time had passed and everything like that.
That's crazy. I want to believe that that's probably the truth, just based off intuition, but I haven't really looked into it.
Well, they may have just found Jimmy Hoffa's body. They said I did like a radar scan over it was like a an old dumping ground back in the day, and it had been replaced with like some kind of industrial plant. But they got to get a bunch of permits and crazy stuff they have to do to go try and dig up Hoffa's body now, I guess. But
Wow.
I just saw a documentary on that recently. They think they might have found him though, because there's a bunch of like old, they were like old oil drums, and I guess the old mobsters used to stuff bodies in these oil drums and throw them in garbage bills and fill it in.
Yeah, and then build a hotel or whatever.
Right. Yeah, build a store on top or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a running joke when I was cleaning up my dad's basement. I said I'm going to find Hoffa's body down there.
Recently, talking about bodies being found, there was a old like duke or king or something that like died in a battle in the like Victorian century or whatever in that, and they never knew where he was buried, but there was doing renovations somewhere, and they found these bones and that, and they did some DNA sort of testing and that, and it finds out like, oh yeah, it's like the Duke or whoever it was killed in that, and so like he got buried somewhere else.
It's one of my favorite ones is I forget her name right now, but that famous female pilot that went off flying around the world and never came back.
I know who she is, and I'm blanking on her name.
Something like starts with an H, I think.
I was going to say Amy Johnson, but she came from where I come from, Hull, but she just.
I bet you somebody in the
Amelia.
chat. Amelia Earhart. Yep. Earhart.
Yeah, I think they found her. They found this body and a plane out on this island, and had makeup from her era and everything, and all the evidence points towards it's probably her. And I think there was like tribes or something, but like she basically died on an island. Nobody found her.
They were saying she was one of the Bermuda Triangle people that disappeared for a long time. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of creepy stuff involved with the Bermuda Triangle. I remember they were trying to explain it. They were saying there's some kind of gas that comes up from the splits in the earth, volcanic rock and everything like that comes up through the ocean and actually causes boats to sink, and it causes planes to come out of the sky. And like, I don't know, it seems a little bit far-fetched, because you think there's got to be fissures in other places of the world that should be happening too. I mean, other than the Dragon's Triangle outside of China, Bermuda is the only other one that I know about like that.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like Area 51. It could be where, there's strange coincidence happening. It's like, how strange is it? It just sounds strange.
There's the Alaskan Triangle too, supposedly.
Too many triangles.
I think it's just extreme weather conditions. Personally, like, it's hard for me to believe. I know that there's a lot of cases, but at the same time, you got to remember how far out they are. Like, there's so many things that can happen. It's almost like more likely that there is going to be so many things that happen,
Like, crab boat fishing in the Alaskan waters up there in the Sound is, I believe, one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. Like, it's your mortality chances there, like, you got like a 25% chance every time you go out in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why crab's so expensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they make a killing too.
What's going on, Ancient One? Ancient One's dropping links. Thank you, Ancient One. I know we had Bone in there dropping links. We got Ancient One in there. I appreciate you guys so much. You make it so much easier for me to actually run the stream when you guys are dropping the links. Usually my internet is so bad, Snow, that I haven't been able to drop links lately. The internet is improving just slightly, where I can every once in a while go in and drop a link without roboting out like a maniac. But
right,
even then, I get a little bit sketchy at doing it because I just never know when the internet's going to go phooey on me. I hate CenturyLink. They drive me nuts.
I can remember a long time ago when you were the one that was dropping all the links.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only one I couldn't find was Chaos Central, because for some reason my subscription list stopped right at J, and it wouldn't load anymore. So K was, like, I'm pretty sure it's Chaos with a K. I couldn't find it. That's the only one.
No, it is K. You're right. It's KH. Yeah.
Oh, KH. Okay, that's what I was
going on, Tim Possible? Welcome.
Yeah, I'm Tim Possible's in there, so I saw that.
Yeah, CenturyLink is the worst RR. They're freaking horrible.
Every time I see Tim, it reminds me I need to get back on my TikTok. I've been slacking on that thing. I did a few and then I just forgot about it. It's I never look at it. So
no, I can't do it. I can't get on TikTok. I mean, I've looked at it and I just can't do it.
I see my kid use it, and the way he scrolls through it. What it reminds me of, Tommy, is it reminds me of how we were when we were kids, and we had the remote control, and we just sat there and flipped through channels.
Flip through the guide.
Flip. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like watching my kid on TikTok. I'm reliving the experience, except it's on his phone, except not on the TV, and no remote control. He's just using his finger.
I couldn't get into it either. Or I actually didn't. I don't even think I tried, really.
We know how you feel about TikTok, Wookie.
Yeah, I get it, Wookie, but the puppet needs more exposure. So unfortunately, TikTok is a very popular platform right now. So
I'll use it. I thought after Drunk 3PO, you were exposed pretty well. That makes sense.
Well, these commies on there. I mean, I'm going to continue to be, Jolly the Patriotic Puppet on TikTok. So eventually, if I get big enough on there, I'm sure they'll kick my ass off. They ain't going to like what I have to say.
Yeah. All you really got to do is probably just show a bit of Shang-Chi or something.
Yep, yeah, absolutely are.
Don't pay me no attention now, but someday they might, because I've heard you start getting a little too freedom-esque, and TikTok starts looking at you weird.
Yeah, someone got kicked off recently for saying just somewhat like really like super, but like it's China. I forget who it was, but they said somewhat that is like not at all offensive, but because like it was promoting America or something, like they didn't like it.
Well, I think that was one of the few things that YouTube did right when they had the shorts things going. Because the shorts is kind of like it's kind of like TikTok in a way, but it just doesn't have the reach. I don't think now.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's YouTube's response to TikTok. Yeah, is those shorts.
Don't get me wrong. I use it. It's great for like the guinea pig stuff that I do, like when I put the guinea pigs in outfits and everything like that. Because I don't need to do a full length video on something like that. I can keep it short.
Yeah, I drop Doberman stuff on there once in a while, and but what I do notice about it is a lot of these women, what they're doing is they're taking their TikToks and they're just transferring it right over to YouTube.
Yep,
it's like double exposure.
I thought you said they're taking the TikToks out and getting banned.
No, there's a lot of women that do provocative stuff, showing off their boobs and their ass,
and there's nothing wrong with that kind of double exposure.
I don't mind it either, but man, it's making a bunch of them just go viral. It's crazy how many of them are out there doing this. It's kind of insane.
Well, as long as they don't turn around and start saying, "Hey, stop staring at me because of my body, bitch. What were you doing in the first place then?"
Yeah, well, it depends how good looking you are, I always think.
No.
Because you never see like a real good looking dude but apart from Ted Bundy's when he's killing them. But you don't really see real good looking dudes getting done much for harassment.
Phone
Yeah.
says I've seen more black conservatives on TikTok than anywhere else. And I got a fake super chat from Ancient One. A colossal sized bag of premium carrots and premium leads for Tommy the guinea pig, his wife, and the guinea pig pups so they can week out of complete happiness. Thank you, buddy. The pigs appreciate it.
That's crisp.
Yes. My TikTok. Bucky was such a perv for a guinea pig. There's nothing wrong with that. Pigs need loving too. But oh my god, do you guys remember that there was one of these stories about, like, this was right around the time of the big satanic scare through the mid to late 80s. They had this one kid called Ricky Casso. I want to say it was up near Staten Island or something. He got heavily into Satanism, and he killed one of his friends, and they were making him out to be this big devil worshiper guy, and the PMRC type groups and shit like that. They use that as a poster boy of what's wrong with modern society as far as movies and everything.
Not really, but it does remind me of some cases where then they start eating each other. I think they're usually on acid or something, and at the time, they're thinking it's giving them the power.
Well, that's funny. That's what they called that Ricky Casso kid. They called him the Acid King.
Right. Yeah. I remember, early 2000s, some dude put on the Craigslist or whatever, I want to eat a human, paraphrasing here. I want to eat a human. If you are a human and want to be eaten, contact this number. And someone contacts him. I don't know if they did it for a laugh or what, but he ends up killing him and eating him. But he didn't eat all of him because he had some of him stored in the fridge. Because when the cops came round, I think I shouldn't laugh, but I think the person who went round to be sort of thing, his friends and family didn't see him around, and I think they looked and oh yeah, we'll go check this address, and found out I think it was in Germany or somewhere.
Captain Robert April. It was that devil rock and roll music, that Dungeons and Dragons devil worship.
And playing the record backwards. Don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Played it backwards, and you could hear Satan talking to you.
Yeah.
There was quite a few of those albums that had that kind of backlashing on it. They did that on purpose.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, well, I remember. I forget which band it was, but one of the artists. The singer of the band, he had a tendency to be a bit out of breath sometimes and so when he was taking that breath back, sort of thing, when you played it backwards, it sounded like do it, and they got him done for it. Well, I tried to get him done for it. Oh, I forget because was it Judas Priest? I don't know, something like that. But they were saying, why would we want to kill our fan members? We need them to buy our albums.
Oh, I remember Ozzy had something like that because he did that Suicide Solution song or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
it was Black Sabbath days. Actually.
Yeah. Well, I saw the documentary where it was this American dude from the South and that, and he was oh, I remember he just said to me, last thing he said was, "Old Ozzy's got the answer," and then he popped himself off, and then they tried to do him for Ozzy Osbourne doing a song called Suicide Solution. And because someone who was going to commit suicide fucking said, oh yeah, old Ozzy's got the answer, just referring to I'm topping myself off. tried to claim that Ozzy Osbourne did it. It was all for Ozzy Osbourne, but it's like, no. If Ozzy Osbourne hadn't released that album, he was going to probably still commit suicide, but he probably wouldn't have said, "Old Ozzy's got the answer," because. But yeah.
So Captain Robert April also adds, Judas Priest, Rob Halford said that if they were going to put in any messages, it would be buy more Judas Priest albums. Yeah, they did go after Ozzy.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I'd say buy more albums. Yeah, buy another copy.
It's just hilarious where some people take some of those things. I mean, they're just so desperate to make a point that they will make anything up. And we see the same thing going on right now with a lot of these idiots who, if they don't like your argument, they will come up with any excuse to sit there and attack you. I had some jackhole on Twitter, going on about Visions and talking about the samurai guy in it, how he made his scabbard out of the saber hilts of defeated Sith, and like his lightsaber didn't turn off, and that's why he had to, okay, that makes absolutely no sense. A lightsaber hilt does not mean it's saber proof. I mean, you look at the movies. Look at the first 6 movies Lucas did. There was a few examples of a saber not being indestructible. I mean, hell, Darth Maul's got cut in half by Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
How is, but, they will find any argument whatsoever to try to make their point. And it's the same thing that these people did back in the 80s and 90s when they were trying to rail against games and movies and everything like that. Any argument to further their point, whether it's right or wrong, they didn't look into it and they didn't care. They just had enough people believing it.
Oh, yeah. Well, any excuse, because, playing records backwards, or playing anything backwards, you will hear some things, because if you play a Bjork, any Bjork song backwards, it sounds 10 times better.
Takes me back to my childhood when I would stay up late, I believe Saturday nights, for the Headbangers Ball, which was on this channel that actually played music videos called MTV. I don't know what MTV is now, but back in those days it played music videos. But yeah, Headbangers Ball was like a couple 2-3 hour long show every Saturday night where they played nothing but heavy metal, so it was a pretty good time.
Ricky Rackman, oh god, what was that other guy, the heavyset guy? It's so hard to remember the other guy's name because Ricky Rackman was the face of that show for so long.
Right. Yeah, I could see him in my head, but I can't think of his name off the top. No. God,
I do recall I went out and I seen a Headbangers Ball show one time. They had Halloween, they had Exodus, they had Anthrax, just to name it a few of the ones that I remember. Good damn show. And I wasn't exactly like a Halloween fan either, but they actually put on a really good live performance. So,
right. Yeah, my favorites back then was like Motley Crue. I was really into Dawkins for a hot second because of the Freddy soundtrack song. The Nightmare on Elm Street 3 song, Dream Warriors. God, I love that song as a kid.
But you couldn't listen to the rest of that Dawkins stuff afterwards, right?
No, after that song, it pretty much fizzled out. That was kind of their one-hit wonder, to be honest. But you remember Warrant? That was another one that was kind of good.
Oh my god, they played that to death.
Yeah.
On that though, the video to that. I probably wouldn't have liked that song as much as I do if it
wasn't for the video, right? And Motley Crue, Girls, Girls, Girls. I think that was the first time I ever got a chubby, I think, seeing that video.
Well, you look at some of the early stuff Motley Crue did too. Oh God, what was that one? It was during Shout at the Devil. They had like the girls in behind the cages and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Motley Crue was one of the first ones that really, kind of showed off women, in provocative places. Like Girls, Girls, Girls. If you remember, that most of that video is them in a strip club. They're literally in a strip club through that whole video.
Wookie got it. Matt Pinfield.
There it is. I figured Wookie remember that. I didn't stick around Headbangers Ball long because I made a switch in my teenage years, and I was eventually turned on to Yo MTV Raps.
I watched both of them, and I
did too.
irritated a lot of people because I remember like there was a lot of people that absolutely hated when Aerosmith and Run DMC worked together.
Oh, that was amazing.
And then people were irritated with Anthrax when they did On Demand.
Yeah, that's stupid. That was one of the greatest freaking songs ever made. Are you kidding me? It was the first time we saw basically hip hop music get put on the main stage, because before that happened, Run DMC was known, but they weren't like, next level Aerosmith known. You know what I mean? And when Aerosmith decided to do that, it transcended all these kids that had never heard hip hop music before and transcended them all over. So that's how, a lot of people talk about the gangster rap days of the late 80s, early 90s, and how all these white kids were into it. Well, no, it wasn't because of the gangster rap. We were already into it thanks to Run DMC and Aerosmith.
And breakdance, so Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Frankie notices I just remembered the name of the band Jens was talking about, Mayhem. They made a movie on Hulu called Lords of Chaos.
Yeah.
Blackie Lawless. Yeah, Beavis and Butthead. Y'all did the Ed Lover dance.
Hell yeah. I even had the song that they did. God, what was the name of that song? Back Up Off Me. Ed Lover and Dr. Dre, they did a song called Back Up Off Me. That was actually kind of cool. I mean, it wasn't the greatest rap ever, but it was a fun song.
Yeah, then you eventually they took rap in a different direction, especially when you started getting people like Ice Cube and NWA, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Yellow.
That's when it transcended into the 90s. Like Yo MTV Raps came out late 80s, early 90s, like it was like 88, 89, 90, 91. And then the explosion of gangster rap showed up about 90, 91, 92. Especially when Dre the Chronic came out. That was kind of one of those moments.
NWA was like a big sort of thing for gangster rap, even though they weren't really gangsters. It was more sort of freedom, but it was a lot about shooting shit and that. So.
Well, actually, one member was.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
Easy. Yeah. The one nobody would think, the smallest guy there.
Right.
Yeah, with the fucking just let your soul glow fucking thing.
And you know what was funny was Eazy-E didn't rap about gangster stuff as much as the others, like MC Ren. He would rap about gangster stuff too, but he liked to rap about women. That was more his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Decepticon King, Bone Thugs and Harmony, conglomeration of the Bloods and the Crips. Yeah,
and thanks to Eazy-E that Bone Thugs got known. That was one of the last bands he promoted before he died.
Wow.
Wookie, I remember not listening to all of that. we all just lost points in the Wookie book.
Whatever, Wookie, tuck and roll.
It was one of those things growing up, though. I mean, I was heavy into a lot of the metal stuff. I mean, I listened to Slayer, I listened to Suicidal Tendencies, the normal stuff that most people were listening to, Metallica, Megadeth, and all that. And I was listening to stuff like Venom that wasn't quite as popular.
Right.
MDC, Millions of Dead Cops, which were a crossover between metal and punk. And, of course, I was listening to punk to Exploit It and all that stuff. But then I would listen to hip hop. I would listen to classical music, and I would just listen to like older like rock bands too. I would listen to everything, and I was huge into reggae. I loved Bob Marley and the Wailers. Oh shit!
Yeah,
I love that shit.
Yeah, man.
Oh, Wookie's complaining over here. Hang on, I'll show you something. See if I can get a good camera angle here. Can you blow my screen up for a minute there, Tommy? I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yeah,
So I got that's an autographed album cover of Too Short there, and I actually got to hang out with him backstage. Him, Devin the Dude was there. The Loonies was there. This is Smoke a Lot that signed that. Drew Down was there, and Sugar Free. And I got to open the show and do some rapping and stuff, and got to hang out with him backstage and smoke and yeah, that was one of those guys, Too Short, like that I wanted to meet. You know, he was like one of the ones on the top of my list as far as hip hop people that I wanted to meet. So I had the pleasure of meeting and smoking with him.
That's
yeah.
Uh oh, I hear El Perro again.
Yeah, Cypress Hill. Death Row Records, yeah. They did a lot for a lot of people before that idiot ran that company into the ground.
Yeah, talk about meeting artists and that. I met Chris Holmes from Wasp because he was doing a gig in that, and it was with his new band about like 3 years ago. Oh, some man. But he was doing like old Wasp like numbers and that. Yeah.
I can't say I was ever a big Wasp fan. Another band that I couldn't stand, and I remember they were on the Moscow Music Peace Festival, was that Striper band. And God, what was the other one? The Scorpions. I was never a huge Scorpions fan, and you know, maybe some of you'd be surprised, but I was never a Kiss fan either.
Yeah, I thought you would have been because like everyone is a Kiss fan.
I had a friend of mine. He was into Kiss like nobody else. I mean, oh my God, I can't even tell you how many times he would call. Oh, hey Tom, you want to go hang out? And I hear, I want to rock and roll in the background. I'm like, oh God, I can't stand listening to that shit.
The one I can't stand is Pearl Jam. I just can't listen to him. I just can't. And he's even from my home area too, Seattle. But and I love Nirvana and a lot of the other ones, but I just can't do Pearl Jam. And please don't play Blind Melon. Oh, that one song.
I got points back at Lucky.
Although that James number, that one, that James number is a bit like, yeah, I don't really like.
Yeah, no.
But most of some of Pearl Jam songs I like.
Yeah, I like a few. Just a few though.
Yeah.
I can't even remember their names.
Thingy. What's that bit? I'm still alive.
Yeah.
That's
what I was singing.
Yeah.
Jeremy spoken.
Yeah. That's like good like one time.
Yeah, I'd skip that one.
No, there is one. I'm not that Lightning Crashes song that's not by Pearl Jam, is it?
No, Lightning Crashes. No, that's
That always reminds me of them though. I really like that song too.
God, I could see the name of the band in my head, but
you know what though?
Live name of the band.
Oh yeah, that's why I always thought it was Pearl Jam because I just thought, oh, it's probably Pearl Jam live, you know. But so there is one Pearl Jam song. It's really slow and it's extremely soft. It's so cool though. That's like my favorite Pearl Jam song. I forgot what the heck it's called, but it's like it just makes me feel like I'm in a dark room with all these candles and like I see like a camera panning around. It's just so moody. It's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. But yeah, it's up like 5 because like most of them songs were up like 5 minutes and that. But yeah, it's
that one's good.
Wait there, I will look.
Now, Ancient One brings up a band I always wish I could have seen. This Gwar. Never had the opportunity to see them. I always remember that first album and then that one part in there, like, we are Gwar. and we'll go far. We got guitars. We'll eat your car. Oh my God, that album cracked me up. Temple of the Dog. Yeah. I think was that just one album? I think it was.
If I had been a couple years older, I probably would have been able to see Nirvana back before they were famous. But unfortunately, I was a little too young when they started getting popular.
He's over. Oh, it's a hard word to figure out because he's not overrated and he's not underrated. Like, people know Nirvana is good, but then there's a lot of hate towards Nirvana because there's so much love for Nirvana. So whatever the word for that is, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of underappreciation, I think, for like Kurt Cobain because there's so much popularity around him. People start to hate hearing about it. But when you really dive into it, it is a pretty crazy story, and he was very talented. That's what I love about his story.
Yeah, there's still a lot of pissed off people in Seattle that blame Courtney Love for that. So that's
it's so hard to say.
Did you guys ever watch that one special they had where the guy goes in, the forensic guy, and he was talking about the death scene and how he died and how he said it was very suspect?
Yeah, and how Courtney Love just happened to be out of town at the time and made sure to like get her alibis all checked out before it happened. And yeah, there was a lot of weird things involved with that, especially the fact that a lot of the money would go to her if something like that happened from Nirvana. So
yeah, it's just crazy. He's another 27-year-old, right?
Yeah. A lot of people think it was because her band at the time, Hole, wasn't as popular. It was doing okay, but she wasn't getting the mainstream fame.
I really like that one song she has, Doll, right? That's her.
Yeah,
I think so.
I like that song.
Yeah. Doll Hearts.
Yeah.
Oh God, there was two songs that she did that got some attention. There was another one, something like something Black something or Black Heart or Black
I
something.
tried. I only like Doll.
But to talk about songs you like though, the name of that Pearl Jam song was Black.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Check out Black. It's different. That's what is so cool about it though. It's not one of those songs. I like finding those songs when it sounds boring and I skip over, and years later you find, I'm gonna give this song a chance finally, and you listen to it and it's like, whoa. For some reason, that one in Black, I watched somebody do it today. I was right before this stream. I was watching somebody's reaction to the new, or I thought it was the Coldplay album, the famous one with Scientists on it. And I didn't know Green Eyes was on there, but that's like one of my favorite Coldplay songs. I don't like a lot of Coldplay, but Green Eyes is pretty good. And
I don't like
he completely skipped it. It's like the whole point of that song, though, the beauty of that song is the slow build up. And then when the kind of stronger guitar strum kicks in, then you're invested because it's like, finally, I was waiting for that shit, But I love that. I love waiting for that. And when it kicks in, it was just perfect. But yeah, that was it. I just found it so funny. He totally overlooked it. But some people aren't ready. Like, I wasn't ready for years for, I think, Green Eyes. I skipped it many times, but I had the song. And eventually I was like, oh, I'm going to give it a chance today. I feel like it. Just randomly, And it's mostly because of fatigue. Like, I've heard this song. I've had this song. I've never really listened to this one.
Give it a chance. Carry you because I'm feeling a bit sick. Talking too much Coldplay talk. But it pisses me off when I see these people who first time they've heard and skinned free bed. It's like, oh, yeah, that back in the 80s. But free bed, now that's a song where it's all wait for the kickoff. Now that's one of them songs.
That was a great time to be alive in Seattle in the 90s. I remember after Nevermind came out, the hype behind that album, everybody was thinking that Nirvana was, the bee's knees for a minute. But a lot of haters were saying, oh, they're going to be a one-hit wonder. And then Heart Shaped Box came out, I believe, 94, and In Utero, and it put all the haters to silence. And that's when that whole eruption happened, was after that album. All these other bands started coming out of Seattle like crazy, and we got Stone Temple Pilots and Pearl Jam, and the list just went on and on and on. I mean, all these crazy grunge bands that came out, and that was the style up there too. We were all wearing what was it? Flannels, flannels were really popular.
Yeah.
had a chain and connected to your wallet, and the haircut.
Where did that all come from, though, Snow?
The grunge movement.
No. They got it from the Breakfast Club.
Oh yeah. Well, and punk. They got it from punk rock too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little bit. I almost want to say country, almost because of the flannel.
Right.
Have a little bit of roots in there.
Well, yeah, a little bit of it's all intermingled. Yeah. I mean, even like early punk was heavily influenced by older rock and roll.
Right.
So
flannels were real popular in Seattle because, back in the 80s, a lot of loggers, it was a real relevant job up there. So you saw a lot of loggers hanging out, and they all wore flannels.
Yeah. More so like loggers, not country. Yeah.
Yep. That was an explosion. No, it's making a comeback, actually. People are starting to wear it again, but it was fun to watch because that whole crazy blow up movement. And then I went the opposite direction. I like I said, I got into hip hop. I got into Eazy-E and all that stuff. And so all my friends were all into grunge and had the long hair and the green hair and started painting their fingernails black and just crazy shit. Yeah, it was. And I went the opposite. So you go look at my high school pictures, and I got a beanie on that says NWA. And so I was like the black sheep in my high school.
Well, I can't get over the Strokes right now. I know they're not old, but they play retro-like music. I just kind of realized that recently as I was listening to a lot more of the songs. I kind of just started listening to them again. But I listened to one of their newer albums, and there's one that I gotta recommend. It's called Eternal Summer. Holy crap, is it cool? There's a couple on that album that are just really cool, but Eternal Summer is what turned me on to that album. I'm like, wow, that song is cool. It's also deep.
Well, there is most bands, as you say, that they do sort of copy 60s, 70s stuff, and because I'm into my 60s, into most sort of music and that, but mainly into my 60s and 70s rock and that. I hear bands where it's like, it sounds all right in that, but compared to what they're copying from, I'm like, oh yeah, nah, I'm like, who's that band that I thought it was a new AC/DC album that came out, and it's like, oh no, it's a different band, but they just basically too close to AC/DC for my liking.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like there was an AC/DC cover band, and they're like, right, well, let's write our own stuff and that, and they're like, okay, then, well, we'll just change a few of these AC/DC fucking songs we did, and you sing something else. But AC/DC.
I was going to say, this has been an amazing conversation going, and I mean, I hate to cut it a little bit short, but I got a few other things that I have to attend to. So I want to do the rundown. I want everybody to say what they got going on, where their channel is. I know somebody's going to put their links in the channel again, like they always do. And remember, guys, if you leave here and you go to another stream, make sure you put that hashtag Guinea Pig Raid. Let them know that we're showing them some love. So, Curtis, what you got going on, buddy?
Nothing really. I don't think. I really haven't figured anything out yet. So I just put up the French Connection today, and that's it.
I really enjoyed the one that you did on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I know I was recommending that one, and
that movie's grown on me more and more every day. Well, I started watching some videos on the history of it and everything. Holy crap. And just reviews in general, just all the interpretations of that. It's so cool. I love movies that have good interpretations like that, and that movie had a lot of it, and so that's why it kind of blew up to on the same level as the Deer Hunter for me. Just saying. Butch Cassidy was damn, yeah. Love that one.
Damn good movie. So if you guys haven't, make sure you subscribe to Curtis YZ channel. He does a lot of movie reviews, and he's even done some stuff where he's showed off some of his guns. Those are some fun videos.
God, I have 2 of my guns out, been sitting here. I've been planning on doing some cleaning live, but I just never got around to it. Been sitting for like a year out here. But at least they're not getting rusty.
Hey, Bone, you an Ancient One, whoever's links you want to put in the chat. I'm not sure if ETEP is still going too. If you guys could drop ETEP's links if he's still going, for people to leave and to go over to their streams, whether it's Darius or ETEP or if it's somewhere else, just drop their links in the chat. And just remember, hashtag guinea pig raid when you guys go there. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate every last one of you coming too. So Jens, what you got going on, buddy?
I'll probably be doing a stream tomorrow on my channel with one subject, definitely, which is going to be the changing of Superman's motto of going from the truth, justice, and the American way to truth, justice, and a better way, which doesn't sound that much, but I'm probably going to get half hour at least of like just ranting on about like, how much of a disgrace that is to the comic and like character themselves, disrespecting the legacy of it and that. And then maybe on Wednesday, because it's forward and that, hopefully we'll go see the Venom film on Wednesday, Venom 2 film. So I'll probably be doing a Venom 2 review on Wednesday. Hopefully, yeah.
Awesome. One last thing right before we get to Snowdub, because Snowdub's awesome, and I appreciate you coming by. Captain Robert April, in case anybody missed it earlier, Captain Robert April is another veteran who's having a hard time to sell it, same as Shellbach. Both of them got, Robert April has got a PayPal link. If somebody has that and they could drop it, great. If not, make sure you stop by Captain Robert April on Twitter. You'll be able to find the link there if you could help out or whether or not you could share it. And the same thing with Shellbach. You can find him on Twitter and you can get his link and at least share it out. If you can't help him, we'd appreciate it so much. We always talk about helping out veterans, and this is the way to do it. You know, we get together as a group of individuals who enjoy the same things, and we should be able to help each other out, even if it's simply by retweeting it for them. Appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. Snow, what you got going on, buddy?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Tom. You know what? With me, it's real easy to get me on a show if you just drop me links, because if I can make it, I'll pop in. Some people are like, you never come on my show, Snowdub, and it's like, well, I'm kind of sporadic. So if you just drop me your link, and if I got time, I'll pop in. That's kind of what Tommy did, and so I was able to pop in here. But you know where I'm at. Everybody in the chat knows me. You know, come on over to the Tuck and Roll show if you want to hang out, have some laughs, and hang out with the puppets. And we just got some new merch up. So if you want your Jolly the Patriotic Puppet shirt or Team Puff shirt, we're pushing those now. I'm pretty excited about that. And
Nice.
we're also doing a giveaway. We're giving away a tie-dye Puff shirt for the members. So if you're a member of the channel, we'll hook you up on that. And much love to the Cotton Connection and the Guinea Pig Collective. And hail Curtis. And it was nice meeting you, gents.
No,
Hey,
I
Snow.
appreciate it. Appreciate it, Snow. But I mean, it's one of those things. We kind of got the Rogue Cotton thing going on too now. So
Yeah, no, the Rogue Squadron, there's Rogue Entertainment and the Cotton Connection are kind of like what would you call that? Like Brothers in Arms or something like that? I'm not sure how that works.
yeah, absolutely. We're definitely fighting the same narrative. So we're joining forces to better utilize our strengths. Is the
Exactly.
easiest way to put it. But
Yep.
once again, I appreciate everybody that's come on the panel tonight, including JJ that was here earlier too. God, I feel like and Shellback. Jesus. I'm a little bit slow tonight, people. Give me a break. I appreciate everybody who stopped by in the chat. I don't even have to mention you all by name. You are here every single week, and I appreciate you all coming every single week. It's amazing that you make these panels exactly what I was hoping they would be, a place that we can get together and talk about those things from the past, have a little fun, and be able to reminisce about those things. So we're going to do the same thing we do every single time, and I'm going to wind up taking you out the same way we take in. So remember, never let anybody tell you what you can and can't say, what you should or should not watch, because your silence gives consent. Have a good night, y'all.
Later.
Right.